Welcome to Capital One Bowl Mania.
Welcome to the Autozone Liberty Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. From Memphis, Tennessee, it's the Cyclones of Iowa State against the Memphis Tigers. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick, Tommy Tuberville. It's great to have you with us. Paul Carcaterra will join us shortly. Iowa State was 7-5 this year, but their season was defined by two games that Cyclone fans will always remember. The first was a colossal upset at number 3 Oklahoma behind an unknown quarterback named Kyle Kempt. He had the game of his life in his first career start and then led the Cyclones to another stunner against number 4 TCU. Before that, he had played 5 years at 3 schools and thrown exactly 2 passes. You can't make this stuff up. The other hard-to-believe story is Joel Lanning. He had been the starting quarterback, and they asked him to move to middle linebacker where he last played in junior high. It worked out okay. The football writers named him a first-team All-American. Now, Iowa State can score like a team from the Big 12, but what separates them from a lot of their brethren, they actually play defense.
They really do. John Haycock, the defensive coordinator, Mike, about midseason started playing pass first, run second. And of course, in the Big 12, you got to stop the pass, and it worked. TCU, Oklahoma beat both of those teams. They don't stop everybody cold, but they give up a few yards. They don't give up a lot of points.
Memphis, on the other hand, came within a touchdown of winning the American Conference and being the highest-ranking team outside of the Power 5. Still, it was a great year at 10-2. The Tigers racked up a pair of top 25 wins this season, and they did it with a spread offense that buried the opposition under a landslide of points, shattering one school record after another along the way. Memphis was second in the country in scoring behind Riley Ferguson. The second-year starter proved to be one of the nation's best passers with almost 4,000 yards. The talent around him was spectacular, starting with All-American wide receiver Anthony Miller, the former walk-on who had no offers out of high school, owns every receiving record in Memphis football history. They can obviously throw it with anybody, but they're not one-dimensional either. They had 2 games this year where they threw for more than 300 yards and in the same game rushed for more than 300 yards.
Well, they can run it, Mike. They can throw it. I love their screen game. Riley Ferguson is as good a quarterbacks we've seen all year long. Quick release, gets the ball out. But his receivers, his running backs, tight ends, the running game, everything combined. This is the offense of the future. It's not a simple offense. It's hard, but you got to have a great quarterback, and they got one in Riley Ferguson.
All right, we look forward to it. It will be the 59th edition of the Liberty Bowl from Memphis, Tennessee. Keys to the game and Paul Carcaterra when we come back. Let's take a look at today's Keys to the Game. We're at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. The Keys to the Game brought to you by Franklin American Mortgage Company. Tommy?
And a fun game it will be, Mike. Iowa State has to control the line of scrimmage and the clock. Got to keep the ball away from Memphis' high-powered offense. Eliminate the big plays. Iowa State's done that most of the year against good teams. Memphis, sustained drives. They have a tough time driving 8 to 10 plays, but they've got to do that in this game. They got to play well with the prevent defense that Iowa State plays, and then defense continue to create turnovers, and they've been very good at that this year.
Thank you, Coach. Paul Carcaterra will work the sidelines for us. Carc, what do you have?
Well, Michael, too small, too slow, and not a single scholarship offer is what Anthony Miller had to stare down 5 years ago, but he never flinched. He's embraced the walk-on label. It's fueled his fire each and every single day. I spoke with Anthony, and he fully expected to dominate when he joined the Memphis program as a freshman. Miller describes his game as different, stating how many receivers are out pancaking defenders every game. Miller's in striking distance of leading the nation in touchdown receptions and receiving yards. And after this bowl game, he feels he will be #1 and went on to say, "My numbers can't be denied. Turn on the film, the way I play can't be denied." And Mike and Tommy, he's right.
Clark, you got to like that attitude. The kid is something special. Memphis won the toss. They have deferred, so Iowa State will get the ball, and Ames does believe in Campbell. Both of these coaches, by the way, with new contracts and long-term extensions to stay where they are. And they both certainly deserve that based on what they've done at these schools. Landon Akers is deep.
We got a wind, Mike, going left to right, so the kicker and Memphis will have the wind at their back the first quarter. That could be a factor. It'll get a little bit windier as the game goes on, and it is very cool. Very cool. And these teams have not played in 5 weeks. It's going to be interesting to see how they control the ball.
Spencer Smith to kick it away. Line drive, hooking kick, and it will go out of bounds. So Iowa State will start with great field position. Kyle Kemp comes out of Massillon, Ohio. He was the Washington High School valedictorian. Started out his college career at Oregon State. Didn't see any action there. Transferred to Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. Didn't see any action there. Didn't see any action at Iowa State until their quarterback walked away from the program just before the 5th game. 1,473 yards, 13 touchdowns, only 3 picks for Kyle Kemp, one of the great stories in college football. David Montgomery, the tailback. Offset eye to the left, fake toward Montgomery, and the pass complete to Lazard, who was his favorite target. 61 catches this year for Lazard.
Memphis, the second half of the season, Mike, went mostly man coverage, and you saw that right there. That's just an out route against man coverage. You'll probably see that a lot today.
Kemp, very accurate. Pressure coming on him this time. Throws, ball tipped. Very dangerous pass. Up for grabs, intended for Lazard, but it went into a crowd. It looked like Tim Hart got a piece of it.
Yeah, excellent play by Tim Hart. He just gets in the passing lane, quick slant, thinking man coverage, but actually went to zone. They kind of fooled him there on the second play of the game.
3rd and 4. Iowa State has not had great success on 3rd down this year. 3 wide receivers stacked to the left, now man in motion. Kemp with time, the out just enough to Trevor Ryan. Track guy transferred from Northern Iowa.
Just another quick out route against man coverage. They're going to do a lot of movement today out of the backfield with wide receivers to see if they're in man. And when they're in man, you're going to see a lot of out routes, a lot of quick throws by Kyle Kemp.
It's a tough cover for a safety. Number 4, Josh Perry, ended up with the coverage. And if that play is executed, it's almost unstoppable. Montgomery, and this kid is somebody to keep an eye on because he was number 2 in the Big 12. As we take a look at our impact players, Montgomery with 91.2 yards a carry. That was 2nd in the conference. And T.J. Carter, only a freshman, leads an opportunistic Tigers defense. 5 picks. As a team, they have 30 turnovers this year. I said carry, obviously 92 yards per game for Montgomery. Averages almost 5 yards a carry, however. Pro Football Focus named him the first-team running back. He forced more missed tackles than anybody. Looked like Memphis was offside, so a free play. That pass tipped and incomplete. Let's go to Paul.
Trevor Ryan, Mike, one of Iowa State's best receivers, 46 catches, and their slot safety blanket receiver on that last catch he made hurt his left foot. Is yet to return to the game, pacing up and down, talking to the trainers, but they need him.
Paul, it looked for all the world like Austin Hall was lined up offside, but no flag. Kemp on 3rd and 7, sits in the pocket, floats it right down the middle, wide open. Akeem Butler, touchdown. A 52-yard strike from Kemp.
Big play. That's how they played all year long, getting big plays against good defenses. This defense here against Memphis is going to play man coverage, and they just paid the price. They played too many man coverages in a row, and they gave the deep ball up.
Can you believe Kyle Kemp couldn't find a way to get on the field at 3 schools in 5 years?
Well, I coached for 40 years, and I probably made my share of mistakes, but obviously a lot of coaches made mistakes on this kid in the last 4 years.
Garrett Owens for the point after. He has not missed in 42 tries this year. 43 for 43, and Iowa State strikes first. 65 yards in 6 plays. It took less than 2 minutes.
Watch me, watch me, watch me do this. It's always been more than the music. You riding weights on the back of my cruise ship. Look, watch me, watch me.
Back to the Liberty Bowl. Iowa State has broken on top, and boy, it's been cold in a lot of places. It's cold here, but it's not Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, let's look at the play here. This is going to be Iowa State's game plan. They stack receivers thinking man coverage, trying to get somebody free. And as you see right here, Hakeem Butler catches a pass wide open.
This is Tony Pollard, the most dangerous kick returner in America. And if you look at the numbers, he may be the most dangerous kick returner in the history of football. Averaging 42 yards a return. He'll be held under it this time as he crosses the 30-yard line. The Tigers are led by quarterback Riley Ferguson. The junior started his career at Tennessee, left Knoxville and football, and took a job detailing cars in 2014. Following season, he enrolled at Coffeyville Community College in Kansas. Then he came to Memphis. He's been here 2 years. It has worked out brilliantly for him and for the program. 3,971 yards, a single-season school record, as well as 36 touchdown passes, only 9 picks. And, Tommy, you really like this guy, don't you?
I really do. And if you like offensive football, get ready, because you're getting ready to see it from this quarterback right here.
Beautifully designed play that ended up being a screen pass to Miller, which almost blew up in their face.
They're going to try to get 100 plays today, Mike. That's an RPO, and they run more RPOs than anybody in the country. And that right there is a run-pass option. He could have run it or thrown it. He obviously threw that, probably should have run it.
Ferguson with time looked right, comes back, or looked right, comes back to his left. That's incomplete, well covered by DeAndre Payne. Now they're going to say it's a catch.
That's pretty close.
Yes, it is. And they did not stop for replay, and they will go on the ground with Patrick Taylor as Darrell Henderson, who has 1,154 yards rushing for Memphis, has been battling a hamstring injury and may not be available today. Taylor, who splits time with him, has rushed for 800 yards this season. Pretty good backup.
Yeah, very good backup. You hate to see that happen to Darrell Henderson.
Taylor again broke the tackle and then stuffed at the 45-yard line. They need to reach the other side of the 50 for a first down. Marcel Spears, an outstanding linebacker, was in on the tackle.
So what you're going to have to see today from Iowa State, they're going to have to really converge on the run from Marcel Spears and the other outside linebackers, because a 3-man front is not really sound against the run unless those guys can really come hard and pressure the run.
3rd and 5. Mayhew is checked in as one of the wide receivers. And they'll go with the draw, and it goes nowhere. Spears was there, as was Willie Harvey, both outside linebackers, and they shut it down and forced this high-powered offense into a punt.
J.D. Wagner, number 58, kind of contains it right here, gets a hand on him, makes first contact. Again, Marcel Spears, outside linebacker position, come from an outside in. That's got to happen all day long against this running game of Memphis.
Spencer Smith to kick to Lazard. Lazard lets it go and faked the fair catch, and Memphis is going to down the ball inside the 5-yard line. They will mark it at the 3. Heck of a play by Connor Choate. A 53-yard punt and great plays on special teams. We're in Memphis, home of Graceland.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl on ABC is brought to you by AutoZone. For the parts, accessories, and helpful advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. Franklin American Mortgage. It all begins with home. And Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs.
This week, members of both teams went to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital here in Memphis to spread cheer with young patients. Literally one of the great institutions in America. What they do for kids and their families is remarkable.
It is amazing what they've done.
Montgomery, the running back, as Kemp will take the snap in his own end zone. Montgomery with the carry. Maybe a yard before he's pushed back, and that's it.
Field position against your goal line, into the wind. You got to run the ball a little bit to get them off your back. But again, playing this much man coverage, you're going to see Iowa State against this type of defensive game plan, the ball in the air more often.
Second and 8. The second Cyclone possession. They scored on their first on the bomb from Kemp to Hakeem Butler. Kemp short set. Lazard, what a catch! What body control to be able to spin and grab that ball.
It's an unbelievable play right here, a catch, but Josh Perry has got to get a piece of this kid when he comes by him. And if you're playing zone coverage, you cannot let a guy run down the field untouched, and that's exactly what happened there.
Gain of 20. Second catch of the day already for Lazard. Kemp had been bothered by a shoulder injury, and the time off between the end of the regular season and the bowl game did more for Iowa State than probably any other team in the entire country. Let's go to Paul.
You know, Mike, this is the third time we've covered Iowa State and Kyle Kemp, and I'll tell you, every time he's on the sideline, I'm amazed. You got to check this guy's pulse, man. He is one cool cat, never rattled, always in control. I spoke to him a few times over the year. He's a computer science major. He wants to write codes. You mentioned earlier the class valedictorian, but what a guy to run quarterback.
He has been something else. There's no doubt about that. Quick out to Deshaunte Jones, and Jones out to the 29. Matt Campbell is the head coach, just signed a new contract, second year. Usually when you're 10 and 14 after 2 years, Tommy, you do not get a big extension.
No, but they really like him. He's got a lot of energy. Young guy coming in, new offense. Got everybody brightened up and smiling, but he's got a long road to hoe in the Big 12 Conference. But I think he can get the job done. He's done a good job recruiting and selling his program.
3rd and 6 for Kemp, trying to keep this drive alive. Back shoulder throw and another catch by Lazard. He had Tito Wyndham turned around, and that was a perfect throw by Kemp.
Well, you call it a back shoulder throw. Really, he got hit about the time he threw the ball, underthrew it, and he comes back and makes the play. Almost impossible for the corner to cover that.
Kemp wants to go long again and was trying to hit Hakeem Butler, who's their speed guy on the outside. Jonathan Cook with the coverage. Now they have applied to the NCAA for an extra year of eligibility for Kyle Kemp. Their justification is that there was a coaching change at Oregon State before he left, then a coaching change at Coffeyville before he left. So they are very hopeful, and that would be a big shot in the arm for this club because they lose so many seniors.
Yeah, they need his senior leadership, and a guy pulling the trigger in this offense, you need some experience.
He's already thrown for 104 yards in this game. And movement will kill this play.
Having a little bit of a tough time throwing the ball.
There is no snap. Snap infraction. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
throwing the ball into the wind. They've got a pretty good wind right in their face, and the ball is sailing a little bit. The shorter passes are easier. I'm pretty impressed with Memphis's defense so far in terms of stopping short passes in the run. They're just not covering anybody deep. Yeah, you see the way the wind blowing left or right as you look at it on the TV screens. 41 degrees, wind chill probably around 30. Both teams have been practicing outside all week. They're used to it. But, again, it's going to cause a little bit of a timing problem. It's going to cause different things to happen. You're going to see things happen.
Game clock to 8 minutes and 8 seconds. 8:08.
Like the bad snap there. We hadn't talked about this, Mike. We might not ought to talk about it and put a jinx on. They have not lost a fumble all year, and it's never happened in college football. One team not losing a fumble the entire season.
Boy, am I glad you said it. And I really hope they go the rest of this game without losing a fumble. Kemp with time to the sideline. Lazard is just eating them alive, being covered by Cheeto Wyndham, who was the field corner, and usually they put Lazard to the field side.
Just a deep out right against his own coverage. Again, he just throws it over the outside linebacker. Great read by Kyle Kemp.
Not much room for Montgomery. He'll pick up maybe a yard.
This is where I thought they'd struggle on Memphis's defense, is stopping the run, and David Montgomery. They've been very successful running the ball inside against everybody, but they're holding their own. They've got to create something to happen outside the numbers on these out routes. If they don't, it's going to be a long game for Memphis's defense.
One of the best way to play defense against Memphis is not to let the offense back on the field. They're doing a good job of that.
Yeah, the first series for Memphis on offense was not a very good series.
Matthew Eaton, number 23, is in as an extra receiver. 2nd and 9. Fake to Montgomery. Screen. DeShante Jones, not much there. TJ Carter, the sensational freshman, and Jonathan Cook covered him up.
And that's what you get when you start playing the zone against these spread defenses. You go from man to zone. They're just going to line up, throw screen passes, put these blockers on you, try to get 4 or 5 yards. That's a big play in both of these offenses that we'll see today against zone coverage.
3rd and 8 as we approach 6.5 minutes in the first quarter. Kemp with good protection and throws incomplete, intended for Butler. Nice coverage by Jonathan Cook, the senior safety.
Got great pressure from the outside from Joseph Dorcas. Watch as he comes from the outside, just outruns him. Gets inside, makes the play, gets a hit on the quarterback. And it doesn't look like a lot, but if he continues to get hit like this the entire game, Kyle Kemp is going to be able to have to think about the things that are coming after him from the inside. The tackle that time got beat inside. You can't let that happen.
Downing will punt. And Pop Williams is deep. Bad snap. Kind of mistake that they cannot afford to make against Memphis.
I think we just lost a little concentration from the punter here. Might not have been a perfect snap. He took his eyes off of it. Just pick it up. Don't lose this fumble. You know, I put the jinx on him a couple of plays before that, but good job of getting on the ball. Now Memphis has got to start showing up. But this is where Iowa State really plays well defensively, is inside the short field or inside the red zone. They're going to have to continue to run the ball to get yards, but pressure now is on the defense of Iowa State to stop a short field for Memphis. A great offense.
Sometimes a punter will look at the rush instead of the ball, especially when it's a good snap. And now Memphis will go to work, and immediately the strike to Pollard. 30 yards.
That didn't take long. And again, it was against a different coverage that I've seen Iowa State run. That's very different. It looked like they were doubling the outside receivers. Single covered Pollard on the inside. He is wide open.
DeAndre Payne hit him hard, and Payne is still down. We've got a timeout. 6:10 to go first quarter. Memphis threatening. Memphis leader Riley Ferguson. Coach, I know how much you like him, and he reminds you of somebody, too.
Yeah, he does. Reminds me of Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. If you look at both of them here on the screen of what they do, the quick release and getting out of the pocket, throwing on the run. Both these guys are very accurate in and out of the pocket, but I like both of them out of the pocket. Riley Ferguson, a little bit bigger than Baker Mayfield. I think both will play in the NFL, and I think Riley Ferguson should be, one of the top draft picks in the country as a quarterback.
Ferguson operating now against a secondary which is missing 3 key members. DeAndre Payne, who was injured. Kamari Cotton Moya and Everett Edwards have been suspended for this game. Flanker screen, blockers in front, touchdown Anthony Miller. Cat quick.
Just an excellent play. Good read right here. Again, it all goes back to the quarterback on 2 things. Getting rid of the ball quick and then realizing what they're trying to do and getting the blockers out there in front. Very quick release. Getting it to Anthony Miller. He's about as good as they are from outside in, catching the ball, not fearing a big lick, and breaking tackles.
Looked like it was close to where the ball was when his knee was down, but there wouldn't have been enough to overturn it. And the point after will tie it at 7. 6 minutes to go, first quarter from the Liberty Bowl.
My left stroke just went viral. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee. Kyle Kempt on the sideline led his team to a touchdown on the first drive. Their second drive ended with a loose ball when the punter took his eye off of it. The snap appeared to hit him right in the face.
If you're sitting home in the cold weather in the north part of this country, just sit back and watch this game and watch all the fireworks. We've had 2 touchdowns already, and there are going to be a lot more in this game.
Landon Akers is the deep man. Akers runs up on it at the 15. And trying to fight for extra yardage, gets out to the 25. The first Liberty Bowl was played in 1959. Penn State faked a field goal, then connected on a pass and run near the end of the first quarter. It was significant because those were the only points scored in the entire game. The 2 gentlemen in the picture you're going to see coming up were Penn State's head coach Rip Engel, that was before Joe Paterno, and Bear Bryant on the right. The game was played in Philadelphia, and the NBC announcers for the game were Lindsey Nelson and Red Grange. Red Grange. Lindsey Nelson, one of my favorites. He just had a perfect voice for college football. Curtis Akins with a stop after a gain of about a yard from Montgomery, who has had no running room whatsoever early.
It looked like their game plan for Memphis on defense is just to slant their front, put 6, 7 in the box, force them to throw the ball. Now they can do that, but I agree with them. You've got to stop David Montgomery first.
Second and 9 for Kempt. Pressure coming. Dumps it off in the flat. Nice play by Kempt, and Montgomery, who's a really good receiver, picks up about 8 yards, bringing up 3rd and short. And a little woofing going on.
That was an unbelievably athletic play from a big quarterback in Kyle Kempt of just getting the ball off. He had people hanging off his shoulder, and an excellent throw out to Montgomery just to make a positive play.
Everywhere he went, they told him he had no future. Oregon State, then Coffeyville Community College, and then Matt Campbell, who tried to recruit him at Toledo, said he could walk on here at Iowa State, but he had no scholarship to give him. This running play is just blown up. Montgomery's still on his feet. Can he get a block? Not enough. And there's going to be a penalty on top of it as well. Julian Good-Jones, the center, trying to peel back. looked like he got a block in the back. It's a loss of 21.
There is no foul for a block in the back. Result of play, 4th down.
Wow. I tell you what, they're playing. Memphis' defense is playing the run as good as I've seen them play in all the games that they played this year. Look at that. There is nowhere to go. And they've only played a 3- and a 4-man front. Offensive line from Iowa State's having a tough time. There was a block in the back. They called it off. Huge defensive play. A loss of about 20 yards.
Don't know why they would call it off. It was clearly a block in the back. And now Downing, who would like to redeem himself from that last botched effort. It's off a good kick here to Williams. And Williams trying to make some progress out to his left, returns it for 9 after a punt of 47 yards. Later today, Capital One Bowl Mania rolls on with 2 more games on ESPN. At 4 Eastern, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, as number 11 Washington takes on Saquon Barkley and number 9 Penn State. Then at 8, number 10 Miami will be right at home, taking on number 6 Wisconsin in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Both games also available on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. We're here in Memphis for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Yep. I tell you that it's a little bit of an advantage. Memphis playing at home here today. Miami's playing Wisconsin in the Orange Bowl. I've coached several situations like that. It's not as big an opportunity as you would think, but I think it's very comfortable for your own team to play in your own bowl or own stadium.
Patrick Taylor and again Darrell Henderson apparently not available, as he's been battling a hamstring issue in practice. Memphis, the best they've ever done here at the Liberty Bowl, the best in school history. It's 7-0 this year, including wins over UCLA when they were 25th and Navy when it was 25th.
I'm just afraid they're going to need Darrell Henderson as this game goes, Mike, and screens, not just running the ball, but also passes. You know, he's big in that.
An exceptionally talented guy. Ferguson threw it up for grabs, and it's complete anyway. Nice catch by Patrick Taylor. Runs a wheel route out of the backfield, and it's a gain of 27.
This is totally designed against man coverage, but they were in zone and had it well covered. Good throw by Riley.
Brian Peavy just did not get position. Throw to the end zone, wide open, touchdown. Phil Mayhew, the former walk-on, as the defender appeared to stumble.
An eligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 71.
But it's coming back. Gabe Kuhn, the all-conference right guard, one of 2 all-conference offensive linemen, downfield. That's been a point of emphasis this year.
Yeah, usually what happens on these RPOs, this is a run play option. Here he is. You can only be downfield more than 3 yards. Brian Peavy, number 10. He gets worn out on the coverage, but brought back.
The shame of it for Memphis, it looks like Kuhn was just searching for somebody to block.
Well, again, you know, the offensive linemen really don't know whether it's given or thrown. They're just told to block somebody, but you can't go downfield more than 3 yards. And it was perfectly executed by the offense, except for number 71.
2nd and 13. Taylor. Oh, nice cut. He made DeMonte Rush look bad on the corner. Let's go to Clark.
Like we saw earlier, DeAndre Payne had to be helped off. He's in the locker room in a lot of pain holding his midsection. That's the 3rd D back to drop for Iowa State. Everett Edwards ineligible. Kamari Cotton-Moya suspended. You don't want this against Riley Ferguson in this pass-happy Memphis offense.
No, for a school that is 8th in the country in passing, 4th in the country in total offense, and 2nd in scoring. Missing 2 guys in the secondary makes it really, really hard. Willie Harvey, the linebacker, knocked that down. Good play on a deep drop intended for Pollard.
Willie Harvey just reads the quarterback's eyes, almost intercepted. Again, it was zone coverage. I would bet the Iowa State coaches are saying, let's play more zone with these 3 D-backs out. If we play man, we're going to give up 50, 60 points. Good job there on the zone coverage.
Patterson will try from 38. He has hit 9 out of 13 this year. And is wide right. So really the result of this drive, just frustration, as they throw a touchdown pass, have it called back for an ineligible lineman downfield, and then miss a very makeable 38-yard field goal.
Well, this is what happened, Mike, and when you get into bowl games, your timing's off on everything, including your kicking game. We've had a missed field goal. We've had a drop snap on a snap punt. The kickoffs have been very short, down to the 15, 10-yard line. And it's very unusual to come in and play perfect in special teams like you do in the regular season.
Why is your timing off?
Well, because you just hadn't been in a game situation. And, you know, game situations is really when you need to practice your kicking game and work on it. And it's been 4 or 5 weeks since they played.
Sheldon Croney checks in at running back for Montgomery, who has had no success running the ball, as Memphis has concentrated on that early. Let's check in with Zubin.
Mike, thank you. Royal Caribbean Studio update at the Tax Slayer Bowl. If this is indeed Lamar Jackson's final college game, he'll want to go out in style, call in his own number. We're tied at 14 on ESPN in Jacksonville. Back to you.
2nd and 5. Pocket collapsing around Kemp. And he throws to Butler, floated that one out there, and Butler was drilled just about the same time the ball got there. He knew it was coming, too.
Yeah, good route, good throw. He just didn't catch it. He gets hit. The coverage was there, zone coverage. He's got to throw it over somebody. He's got to throw it over Austin Hall. Got a linebacker trying to get downfield. Just got to catch it. He didn't lift the ball in.
Sharif White, the backup middle linebacker, and Jonathan Cook, the safety, sandwiched him. It's 3rd and 5. A lot more defense right now than we expected in this game.
Yeah, here's an offensive formation strictly for man coverage.
Blitz coming. They don't get there. Pass underneath. Lazard again. 5 catches in the first quarter for Allen Lazard.
Pretty good protection, sets in the pocket, throws the ball outside. And I'll tell you, if T.J. Carter's going to give him that much room for an out route, it's going to be a long day for the DBs of Memphis.
He's on a pace to catch 20, and he might. Croney, first time a running back's had any room, and he gets it out to the 47. Let's go to Carter.
Good news for Iowa State. Trevor Ryan is back in the game, 19 in white, the slot receiver. Massive amount of tape on his left ankle. I watched him running up and down. His straight line speed looks fine. His cutting, not so much. So he's a guy who really loves to get off the defense with quick cuts. He's going to struggle in terms of getting those intermediate passes.
They'll send him in motion here from the wing right. And they'll go with the run. Again, it's Croney. Gets a couple, and that's it. That is the end of the first quarter. It's 7-7 here in Memphis. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Beale Street in Memphis, Tennessee.
A lot of excitement here the last few days, Mike. A lot of Iowa State fans coming in from the cold weather.
Well,
they really did. I tell you, they were everywhere in the hotel.
Well, all they did was run into more cold weather. It's funny, when Memphis is playing essentially a home game, people think that might be a disappointment, but you've got to realize all the parents get to come, all the local people get to come. It's a big deal for them.
Oh, yeah.
Kemp throws behind and almost picked off by T.J. Carter, and you can see why he has 5 picks. The kid is a ball hawk.
True freshman T.J. Carter could have gone anywhere in the country he wanted to go. Stayed, played here from Nashville. Good coverage. Almost interception.
It's funny when you see guys and the coaches say, we don't play zone that well, so we switch to man. Usually it's the other way around.
That's exactly right.
4th and 2, they'll kick it away. Williams is deep, stands back at his 10. And booms it into the end zone. Last time that Iowa State was in a bowl, it was here in Memphis. The Cyclones had played in 2 previous Liberty Bowls. The last time was in 2012 when Iowa State held a 17-7 lead after the first quarter, then gave up 24 unanswered to Tulsa. 40 years earlier, Iowa State came up short against Georgia Tech as well here in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
And I guess at the banquet this week, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl banquet, the AD from Iowa State said, yeah, we played in 3 AutoZone Liberty Bowls. Memphis has never played here, and this is their hometown. So a lot of fans here today in blue and a lot of fans today in red and gold.
And it is a sellout. Miller can't get away. And if you're going to concentrate on anybody, that's the guy. And Marcel Spears, who is an outstanding sophomore linebacker, number 42, was out there in coverage.
John Haycock, the D coordinator, said he's the most improved player on the defense. He doesn't miss many tackles, and in the Big 12, you need great tacklers at outside linebacker.
He's had 96 tackles this year, and Tony Pollard gets a shot.
Reggie Wilkerson, one of the safeties, makes that play, but he had to come up quick. Now you're going to see more tempo offense from Memphis. They have been in 0 rhythm so far in this game.
3rd and 3. Ferguson, quick drop, throws to Pollard. First down after the 31-32. There isn't a throw Ferguson can't make.
He can throw it in a seam. He can throw the deep ball. He can throw the ball on the run. Does a great job. But this is what we talked about early in the game. They have to make 8 to 10 to play drives and score points. They can't score big points against this team because they play 8-man drop.
Throw over the middle, and that is complete again to Mayhew. Makes his 32nd catch of the season, and that one is for 18 yards.
Well, it looks like Memphis now has got all that coaching out of the way in the first quarter. Now they're going running their offense because you normally say, oh, we're going to run these 10 plays. This is what we're going to run beginning of the game. Well, they got those out of the way. Now they can go ahead and start running plays that have worked for them all year long. Looks like they're getting in a rhythm.
Iowa State basically in a 3-3-5 defense. They fake the run, throw to the outside to Mayhew again. Looked like he had enough for the first down before he was pushed back, and he did. DeMonte Ruth, who was the 3rd cornerback in most situations, made the stop.
Again, this is what Iowa State's done all year long. They're going to give you some passes, but they're saying you cannot drive this ball 8 to 10 plays, 80 yards, and score. You'll make a mistake. They're making some plays. Let's see if this works.
Again, fake the run, throw it to the outside, and complete it this time to Mashane Slade, who is a 5'8" sophomore.
John Haycock, the D coordinator there, again, he designed this defense, and it's, again, I coached defense for 40 years. This is a very unusual defense, but it's worked for him. The kids know it. They play well. They're going to give some yards. They want to make you make a big mistake on a long drive.
And to tell you how good it has been, he was nominated.
Offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
John Haycock was nominated as a semifinalist for the Broyles Award, which is the award that goes to the top assistant coach in the country.
Prestigious award from a mentor of mine, Frank Broyles, who passed away last year. We're going to miss him, a great guy in college football, actually an announcer, for a long time. But
with Chris Schenkel.
That's right. But John Haycock has done a great job with this defense.
They'll try to run for it after the penalty, and Pollard doesn't have a chance. Hitting the backfield, some pushing and shoving afterward, or excuse me, Patrick Taylor with the carry. So we're getting a little chippy already.
Here you see the graphic of the two defenses. Last year they gave up 31 points, 452 yards. This year 21 points, 368 yards. Huge improvement. Now he's got a few seniors on the team, but again, this is a defense that you wouldn't say it's a normal defense, but it's working for them. They're making plays, and these kids really like to play it.
Ferguson flushed out of the pocket, and they'll bring him down and force a punt. Jamal Johnson and J.D. Wagoner applied the pressure. Ferguson had to take off, and they got him.
Yeah. I think you got to go for this. You're into the wind, so you can't kick a field goal. If you try a punt, you're probably going to gain maybe 15, 18 yards. Hey, this is a bowl game. Go for it. Have some fun.
4th and 8. Five-man rush, and they get there. And again, it's Jaquan Bailey. That's his 6th sack.
Only a 5-man rush. Jaquan Bailey worked his way back inside. Good pressure, but they got huge push on the offensive line of Memphis.
The defense is standing up to the potency of these offenses so far.
You love like a wildfire, light me up like a live wire, but I
7-7 tie here in Memphis. Tommy, we're talking about defense for both teams.
Well, what happens in bowl games, Mike, and this is even the Super Bowl, if you ever watch this, you give them time off. You give defensive linemen 2 or 3 weeks off, and they get their legs back. They're going to control the line of scrimmage. They're better athletes normally than the offensive linemen. That's what you're seeing today on both sides. They're fresh. They're ready to go. They had a lot of time off, and they're healthy.
Turnover on down, so they start from their own 45-yard line. There's that offset stacked eye. Kempt with a fake, pumps, then goes deep, and just overthrows Matthew Eaton.
Memphis did a great job that time of disguising their coverage. It looked like a too-high defense, and then they rolled one guy down. He wanted to throw the out route, but he had to throw the go route just a little bit too deep, a little bit too much on that deep route to Matthew Eaton.
Pretty good job by Kempt to find a secondary receiver, however. Second and 10. Delay to Montgomery. Finally a little room to run. Look at the power this kid has.
That's Montgomery we've seen twice this year, Mike, right there. His legs do not quit moving. They go north and south, and you really got to gang tackle him to get on the ground. Watch this. There's nowhere to go. He breaks on the outside, makes one good cut. Look at his legs. He just keeps driving, getting that extra 1 or 2 yards.
He is generously listed at 5'11". He's 219 pounds.
All Big 12 as a sophomore running back. That's huge.
3rd and 3. I know you recruited him at Cincinnati.
That's right. Unfortunately, he got out of town.
Kempt got the quick out for a first down again. Hakeem Butler fighting for extra yards.
Hakeem Butler, 6'6", 220 pounds, against a cornerback that's usually going to be 5'9", 5'10". Pretty much an overstretch for a guy like this to tackle. Look how big this guy. There's a mismatch there between the DB and the wide receiver, and Butler's going to win that every time. Run the football, run the football. That's what they think they've got to do. But again, they're getting more yardage in the air than they are running the ball. But you have to keep them a little bit honest in what they're doing up front, so they have to play one-on-one in the secondary.
2nd and 6. You would have to think this kind of game, this tempo, is certainly good for Iowa State. Montgomery again. Monday, New Year's Day, a few more college football appetizers for you. Noon Eastern on ESPN2. Jim Harbaugh's Wolverines go against the Gamecocks in the Outback Bowl. And at 1 o'clock here on ABC, number 14 Notre Dame, number 17 LSU in the Citrus Bowl, presented by Overton's. Both games also available on the ESPN app.
Well, I like that matchup. Notre Dame, LSU, that should be a heck of a ball game.
Third and 5, approaching field goal territory if nothing else. And Kemp airs one out too high, and it's picked. Then the ball came loose, but it looked like he had made the catch. Tito Wyndham with the interception, his second of the season.
Just another mismatch on man coverage. And again, Kyle Kemp went for it all. And I would tell you, you're going to see great concentration here from Tito Wyndham. Marchie Murdoch trying to make the catch. We're getting ready to find out right here if we're going to have a replay. Catch.
So Memphis is going to have the lead by the extra point in a minute. The replay booth wanted to take a look at what that pick was, and they're going to overturn this.
After review, the defender did not maintain control of the ball all the way to the ground. Therefore, we have an incomplete pass. He's 4th down at the 30-yard line.
And that's what we've seen in pro football and everything we've been watching the last few weeks. You have to maintain control all the way through the catch. And as you're going through the ground, watch, he goes down. And that angle right there, you can't see it. But he doesn't have the ball all the way in. He's got it on the top of his arm. Watch. Here he's got the ball almost to control, but it comes out.
Well, the only 4th and 5, they're going to go for it. My only question on the replay is how long do you have to have it after you hit the ground? He had it for a certain period of time.
I think if he'd have had the ball in his what we call the breadbasket in control, that'd have been enough. But he had that ball too high, never really got it pulled his body.
So big break for Iowa State. Can they take advantage? Yes, they can. First down at the 18-yard line. Nice throw by Kemp, and Lazard with his 6th grab of the ball game.
I don't like this defense. It's 4th and 5, and we've got our DBs off 8 or 9 yards and backing up on the snap. You've got to challenge receivers in the red zone, especially on 3rd and 4th down. Take the first down away.
It's almost like giving it to them, isn't it?
Make them throw it over your head. To me, that's the #1 rule in defense, especially in the red zone.
First down at the 18. Montgomery, as they continue to try to run, but there is not much there.
I tell you, Memphis is really holding their own on the running game. Again, they just got to get a little bit tougher, a little bit more aggressive on the outside. But, very good play calling and execution. Very good play calling and execution from the offensive side of Iowa State. And they're really working their receivers well against this man coverage. There's Chris Ball, defensive coordinator. He just tries to hang on every game. He's not as talented as he will be in the future. Right now, he's leaning on the offense of Memphis to win games.
They lost 6 starters to injuries in the first 2 games, all of them out for the year. One of the reasons they switched to a man-to-man. Good defense there on the pass to Marchie Murdoch as Jonathan Cook just grabbed on, wouldn't let him go.
That's what we're talking about. Be aggressive in the secondary. Attack the line of scrimmage when the ball is in the air. And right at that time, Jonathan Cook just pressed the blocker back into the ball carrier and made the play. Great play there.
Of the 8 players listed on the 2 deep in the secondary, 5 are either freshmen or redshirt freshmen. Tough to play with all that inexperience. Kemp can run inside the 5. That'll be 1st and goal. They caught him from behind. Sharif White saved the touchdown, at least temporarily. Now, Kemp is never going to be known for his running ability, but he had a wide open field there.
Well, good job out of Kemp. Good job out of Kemp coming up the field, making the play. That's just very poor from the defensive tackles inside. O'Brien Goodson got to stay in his lane.
And here comes Joel Lanning, the senior, who plays quarterback, middle linebacker, and special teams.
Iron Man.
He is that. Just a remarkable story. Lanning with the carry. Fighting for extra yards, got down to the 2. He was all-state in football, baseball, and basketball.
Hadn't played linebacker in 8 years, Mike, and makes first-team All-American this year in the Writers?
The Writers Association, Football Writers Association of America. Hopefully somebody will give him a shot in the NFL because he obviously has talent to play linebacker once every 8 years and be second in the entire conference in tackles. He's got the speed. He can run. And landing into the end zone for a touchdown. Got to be happy for that kid.
What a career he's had. Great blocking up in the middle. That's just a quarterback power. Him taking the ball kind of delayed, working up inside, following his blockers. Good play. I'm proud for that kid. He's really gone through a lot. He's really beat up at the end of the year playing all those positions. And you tell here, Sam Buckner makes a great block on the outside, 47. Kind of walks in the end zone.
Did you see Hakeem Butler, who had to squeeze his way through 2 other players as he was the man in motion? He had to turn sideways, and still he bumped one of them. That could have messed up that play terribly. 12 plays, 55 yards over 6 minutes off the clock.
Zone Liberty Bowl on ABC is brought to you by AutoZone. For the parts, accessories, and helpful advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. FedEx. Sign up for FedEx Delivery Manager. Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And your local Lexus dealer. Make this a December to remember.
Come to Memphis, you have to go to Graceland. And if they tell you you're entering the Jungle Room, just close your eyes and pretend that isn't part of the tour. That place is a bridge too far. The rest of it is magnificent.
It is a fun time to go out there and to see the legend of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. I saw him right after he got married. I came up, young guy, standing outside the gate, and he and Lisa
Marie,
his wife, came out and looked both ways and then took off down the street. Fun time.
Took off when they saw you?
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, the best return man in college football, came into this game averaging 42.4 yards a return. He has 4 touchdown returns this year, 6 in his career. Each one is one off the all-time record. Pollard to the outside, can't make the corner, cut down at the 29, and we check in with Zubin Mehenti.
I'm Reese Davis. Coming up on the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Baker Mayfield has spoken. A little raspy, but seemingly none the worse for the wear. Jonathan Vilma, Mac Brown with me. We'll see you at the half.
Back at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and it's 14-7 Iowa State going for its 8th win of the season. Riley Ferguson, for the most part, has been held in check. 118 yards. For him, that's nothing.
15 plays without scoring a point for Memphis. That's unbelievable. You got to give the defense from Iowa State some credit. They have got to open it up, and they've got to get into tempo offense.
Nothing here. It's just not working on the ground. Let's go to Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Mike and Tommy, I know it's 72 degrees and sunny up in the booth, but it's actually in the 30s here. And Riley Ferguson, the Memphis quarterback, for the first time this season's wearing gloves on both hands. And with this quick strike offense, Coach Tubbs, it is probably something new for him. I know that he's been wearing them in practice, but in game situation, first time with gloves for Riley Ferguson.
You know, Paul has been whining about the weather for the last 6 weeks, I believe. as they complete this pass to the sideline to Patrick Taylor.
If I'm the head coach, though, and I got a quarterback out there in 41-degree weather that's wearing gloves for the first time, I'm going to have a little talk with him on the sideline, because right now he is not throwing the ball with any authority, and he looks different. But the whole offense looks different. Mike Norvell's got to get him in some kind of tempo.
3rd and long. Iowa State showing blitz.
False start. Offense. Number 3. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And that's on Anthony Miller, the wide receiver. And it's the kind of thing when you show blitz that can happen to an offense.
Yeah, you sure can. But one thing we hadn't talked about, Mike, Darryl Dickey, the offensive coordinator this year, has left the team, gone to Texas A&M as their new offensive coordinator. Mike Norvell's running it all. Looks like he's missing a little something today on the play calling.
Montgomery with time. Now he's pressured. And they got him back at the 20. That Iowa State defensive line, these guys have played a heck of a game so far. J.D. Wagoner, who is not the most gifted athlete, but plays his position so beautifully and so hard.
Plays all heart. There comes Marcel Spears. He's not even supposed to be in on the rush. He just scrapes on the outside. And again, 3-man front. All 3 guys inside on the center and the 2 guards. They haven't been able to handle it all day.
And when you have seniors, you have a chance. And there's a lot of seniors on this Iowa State team. 39-yard kick. Back to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl after this.
Playoff semifinals, New Year's Day on ESPN.
That is going to be special. Now, I think the one everybody is really wondering about is Clemson and Alabama. Alabama is a favorite. What do you think?
Well, I'm more excited about the playoffs this year than any year before. And Alabama, you know, they got to stay away from 2nd, 3rd and long, because their quarterback's not that big a thrower. Force the running game wide. And of course, Clemson, you know what they can run the ball, and they got to contain Hurd on the outside run. He's their big threat.
Kempt for Lazard. A lot of contact. Has to be a flag on that, and there is. Leandre Thomas never saw the ball and just grabbed onto Lazard.
True freshman.
Defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
Thomas, a true freshman, number 12 right here. Just a mismatch from Lazard. Lazard's got more experience. Look, he just grabs him. He knows he's beat, but he's got to be more aggressive with his hands. Just use your hands. Don't let him get behind you. Stay in good position. He just lost his position. Lazard he's schooling this young high school freshman, every which way.
I love the way he turned around and just waved incomplete. Let's get on to the next play.
But when you're a receiver like Lazard, you see all kind of that, because you can put a move on these guys and they just get lost and they panic and start grabbing.
From the Memphis 46, Kempt. That one is incomplete and intended for Chase Allen. Let's go back to Lazard, because he was the young man who caught the game winner at Oklahoma, and this is his 48th consecutive game with a reception, and that's number 1 in the country.
He's got all kind of talent. I'm anxious to see what he can do at the next level, because he's a kind of a big guy. You know, he's 6'5", 222, uses his body well.
He was heavily recruited out of high school, including offers from Stanford and Notre Dame, so you know how bright he must be. And there he is again. But he wanted to stay at Iowa State, and they are so grateful that he did.
They just can't cover him. He just runs a quick post. You know, Thomas is playing outside leverage. He doesn't want to get beat deep. And then the safety see him coming again. He's a load to tackle.
Kempt with time, throws to the outside, intended for Lazard. He has 7 catches for 108 yards so far in the first half, and drew an interference call.
He's saying, please take me out. I run about 8 40-yard dashes in a row. And you don't really realize when you're watching on TV or from the stands how much running receivers do. We actually put monitors on them in practice now. They'll run 7 or 8 miles just in practice running routes.
Jeez.
And so you have to monitor them so you don't run them in the ground.
Only a minute 39 to go in the half. 2nd and 10 for Iowa State, already in field goal range. Kempt on the run. Really a dangerous throw there for Hakeem Butler. Good coverage by Jonathan Cook. Tito Wyndham was back there as well.
Yeah, zone coverage. Jonathan Cook playing free safety just comes over the top. Wyndham playing a little bit deep. Turns really into man coverage, but it was zone. Good play there by Jonathan Cook, trying to work underneath again in the red zone. Play in front of the receiver, not behind him. That's what they've done in the past, is giving up that easy throw in front, force the ball over the top.
They're happy to have both of those safeties back. Cook and Perry, they were both hurt in the conference championship game. One of the reasons they lost in the rematch to Central Florida. Blitz coming. Kempt can't get away. Taken down at the 35-yard line. And that is a big mistake because it takes him out of field goal range. The number one thing he has to do is get rid of that ball.
Don't take a sack when you're in the red zone. Get rid of it. Just throw it. You see the blitz. You get 5 men coming. You're pressure from both sides. T.J. Carter was coming really fast.
Their first time out of the half. Please reset the game clock to 1:24 seconds. 1 minute, 24 seconds.
Memphis stops the clock. Otherwise, Iowa State could have run off another 35 seconds. Monday, New Year's Day on ESPN at 12:30. It's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl as number 12 UCF, who we just mentioned, puts their undefeated season on the line against number 7 Auburn. Good matchup there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Scott Frost will coach his final game for UCF before going on to Nebraska. December 2nd, Memphis met undefeated UCF in the AAC championship game, went to double overtime. Ferguson was intercepted at the goal line, down 7, and it was a heartbreaking double overtime loss. UCF got to pick up the AAC championship trophy.
2 losses on Memphis' side, both the UCF. A good football team. That should be a great game between Auburn and UCF. Should be a lot of points scored.
51-yard try for Garrett Owens would be a career long, and he hooked it.
Special teams, we talked earlier, bowl games aren't very, very good, because you've been off 4 or 5 weeks, and it's showing up here today.
And with the offense that Memphis has shown all year long, with 1:18 and a couple of timeouts left, plenty of time. But they've been throttled so far.
Yeah, Memphis's offense, they were down 17-0 at halftime to Houston in a huge game. And they came back and scored 42 the second half. 572 points, most in single-season school history. And that is a lot of points, and a lot of those have been scored in the second half.
And yet the last 7 Memphis plays, 6 of them have gone for negative yardage. Ferguson pressured. Did he get out of bounds? He did. Stop the clock with 1:08 left.
Just watching the secondary from Iowa State, they are schooling Memphis on how to play an 8-man drop. They're taking away all the vertical routes and making them throw it underneath. And Memphis just will not throw the short route. They're trying to get too much, too early, too quick.
Coach, you mentioned the screen game in our open. I haven't seen more than 2 screen passes.
Nope. And again, this is a 3-man rush, and they give up a sack.
Ball came loose. I think he was down. Now they're going to rule he was. Jaquan Bailey chased him from behind. Ferguson is mobile, but he's not really a runner.
He's not a runner, but the thing that you got to happen is Jaquan Bailey's a guy that can really pass rush. They're getting speed rushed on the outside. Again, 3-man rush against 5 blockers. That can't happen. It cannot happen in a game like this.
Second sack for Bailey. Ferguson steps into this throw and gets it across the middle, complete to Kadarian Jones. Clock running. They'll stop it while they move the sticks, but only 30 seconds left in the half. Once again, that three-man rush. You're going to force him to march down the field with multiple plays, and Phil Mayhew makes another catch.
Again, make them make a mistake. That's what Iowa State's done all day long. You know, just pressure with three, force them to throw the ball into coverage, make the tackle, go back, and go again.
Ferguson flushed by that three-man rush, throws underneath to the 32-yard line to Patrick Taylor. And keep in mind, Darrell Henderson apparently not available. He's been battling hamstring issues. He is their 1,100-yard running back.
Yeah, good throw right here. He just makes things up. Again, you see Brett Favre, Drew Brees, all these guys. But what's happening here is you're seeing a Power 5 defensive front just whip a group of 5 offensive line. That's exactly what's happening here, and there's no excuse for a three-man rush to give up that quick a pass.
Ferguson overthrows. That time they sent 4 and got pressure. Now only 8 seconds left.
They probably need 7 or 8 more yards at least have a chance, because again, we've got a good 10-mile-an-hour wind in the face of Memphis here, so they've got to get a little bit more yardage to have a chance to get at least 3 points on the board. This has got to be a quick throw.
Taking a lot of time here. Throws over the middle and caught. But the clock has turned to double zeros.
They got to put 1 second back. I was watching the clock, but it depends on when Mike Corvell got.
30-second timeout.
You can combine and compare the clocks here. Mike Norvell, the head coach at Memphis, has got to be out there in the face. Sprint out pass.
The game clock to 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
That looks like a good call, doesn't it?
Yeah, but a sprint out pass, again, remember, it takes a while to get out there to throw that ball. And that was a real gutsy call from the sideline. Almost ran out. A couple more steps, and that would have been a halftime call. No points.
This will be a 34-yard try. Patterson has already missed from 38. So he is 9 out of 14 this year.
Understatement when they said they were freezing the kicker. He's already froze before he comes on the field.
Good point.
But again, this wind's going to play a factor, and hopefully we can get a shot of the flags. They are really picking up. The temperature is actually dropping. It's supposed to be in the teens here tonight. The front is moving through. There you can see it. It's blowing right in the face of the kicker.
So this is what, maybe 6, 7, 8 yards difference?
Yeah, at least. The big thing is really not the distance from here. It's how the wind affects the ball in its flight, whether it pushes it right or left.
And they're going to use another timeout.
Prior to the ball being snapped, timeout. Iowa State, their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
This is a rule I wish they'd look at. This just strikes me as being silly.
Yeah, I've been on both sides of this, though. Sometimes it's effective. It was used against me when I was at Auburn playing against Florida, and Urban Meyer called it, and we had to re-kick it, and fortunately we made it. But it really, really gets into the head of the kicker.
Yeah, it just seems like you're gaming the system a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's. Coaches have to do something on the sideline during their game, and with all this money being paid now, it makes them look like they're more into the game. But this is a good right here by Matt Campbell. I think that especially in this, with the wind, with what's on the line, temperature, good call.
And Patterson knocks it through, so he's 1 for 2 for the day, and Memphis has cut the lead to 4. Let's go to Paul.
Coach, Memphis has the second most prolific offense in college football, averaging 47 points per game. You've held them to 10. How?
Well, I think we played complementary football. I give our defense a lot of credit. We haven't given up the big play. We've been efficient in critical situations, and offensively we've done a good job keeping the football. But again, we got to execute in some more critical situations. So good first half, but a lot of work and adjustments to do going into the second half.
We've seen Joel Lanning on offense, defense, and special teams. Describe the energy that senior provides for you.
He's incredible. He's one of the most special players I've ever been around. I think what he does for his football team is as special as anybody in the country. So really proud of him.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kark. When we return, Reese Davis and company will be in Pasadena to bring you up with everything on the Mercedes-Benz halftime report after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
No better setting for college football, and on this pristine surface, there was never any doubt whatsoever that Baker Mayfield was going to lead the Sooners out there and play quarterback against Georgia in the Rose Bowl game. But what the question was, would we hear Baker talk about it beforehand? Not at Media Day, empty podium, dun dun dun. And for you older people, here comes Willis Reed. Voice a little raspy. Baker finds a microphone.
It's easy going out there and practicing. I'm playing football and then going to a nice hotel and enjoying the process and trying to. Done everything normal, the normal stuff. That's what we're sticking to, not treating it any differently. I'm out there with the guys, and, that's like I said, I'm here, so they have to stop. They're not answering questions on my part anymore.
I don't know that I'm concerned. He'll be ready to play. His fire burns pretty hot, as we all know, so I wouldn't say I have a concern.
34-year-old Lincoln Riley, and if you close your eyes really tight, you can just hear Bob Stoops, can't you? Jonathan Vilma and Mac Brown here with me, Reese Davis. And look, we finally got to hear from Baker Mayfield, legit sick. And there's no question about it. There's nothing else going on other than that. When you have to deal with something like that and it throws you off your routine just a bit leading into a game like this, any ramifications by the time New Year's Day comes?
No ramifications. I've played sick or unhealthy, whatever you want to call it. The fact is, when you're out there, you're healthy. You're ready to go. The adrenaline gets flowing. You go out there and you play. The only thing I can think of is having to have more fluids. If he's dehydrated and, late in the game, you don't want to have that issue where he's going to be out of the game, cramping up or anything like that, especially at the quarterback position.
I totally agree. In fact, in some cases, when there's one of your star players that's sick, the team rallies around it and plays better, and he actually relaxes and plays better. But I would be concerned about the heat of a fourth quarter afternoon game and not having enough fluids. So they're going to have to pump him with fluids between now and Monday's game. I do like the fact he came out today and he kind of sent a message to everybody, hey, man, I'm coming. don't even think.
If there was ever a doubt.
If there was
ever a sliver of a doubt.
Yeah, and I'm fine. A little brassy, but I'm fine.
It reminded me that earlier in my career at ESPN, I was working as the studio host on radio for the NBA Finals, and there was a certain player who was a little sick. They weren't sure if he was going to be able to play. Michael Jordan against the Utah Jazz in the finals put 38 coming off the foot.
Yeah.
He 38
he did pretty well.
After Quinn Buckner had been telling me, I don't think he's going to play. He's lying flat on his back in a dark room. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, committed to honoring blimp-worthy athletes who demonstrate hard work on and off the field. Goodyear, official sponsor of the college football playoff, and I did not say Baker Mayfield was Michael Jordan. We'll have to wait and see for that.
Hasn't been an easy ride, has it? Between the yards and the touchdowns and the Heisman hype, you've had to make a lot of apologies.
I didn't mean it to be disrespectful at all. What I did was I crossed the line.
Win it all, and you never have to say sorry again.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Oh, grab you if you picked the wrong.
College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, live from Pasadena, New Year's morning at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, head-to-head Capital One Bowl Mania. Palmer's up by 38 after 31 games. But if Mississippi State, Memphis, and Washington all win today, we will be all square. On the subject of Mississippi State, they are in the Tax Slayer Bowl against Louisville right now. Game's on ESPN. Lamar Jackson could be his final game. He's going to take off for 75 yards, longest run of his career.
He got tired. Can't believe he didn't score. You see him break out. We always say, oh, that's a touchdown right there. Lamar Jackson, easy. It looks like he got tired at the end, got run down. Remember, I said that's the first time you ever seen that, right, Matt?
Good that you run that long. You can get tired. That's a positive.
He is human.
Finds Jalen Smith with a touchdown. Couple touchdowns, couple of picks in this game so far. Louisville's up 21-17.
Reese, I like the fact that it may be his last game, but he's playing his tail off. Give him credit.
He really is.
Competing for his team.
State's been getting after him, and he's been going. You see, we've got New Year's 6 bowls coming up. PlayStation Fiesta Bowl at 4, Capital One Orange Bowl at 8, Wisconsin and Miami. Let's start with that one, Jonathan. The nightcap. Key to the game, who wins it?
Well, the key to the game, I'll start first the other way. Miami's going to win it. Key to the game is stopping the run.
Where'd you go to school?
That's irrelevant right now. Completely irrelevant.
That's all right.
But you have Wisconsin that we know can stop the run. They play very good run defense. Miami doesn't have Mark Walton, Travis Homer's there. They can key on him. It's going to be the other side now. The front seven of Miami, can they stop Jonathan Taylor, third leading rusher in all of college football, young, aggressive guy. They stop him, they win the game.
And as far as the other game, the game that will come up first between Washington and Penn State, Pac-12 has been terrible in the postseason. I sometimes think we overestimate what that really means. Be nice for them to get a victory against Penn State. Will the Huskies do it?
I think so. I think Washington wins simply because Joe Moorhead, who did a tremendous job with the offense at Penn State this year, went to Mississippi State. Now you've got
Ricky Ronnie,
one time ever coached as an offensive coordinator in a bowl game interim. It's very, very difficult for a guy to step in, take over an offense, even with an older quarterback like McSorley, and make it work. You saw Missouri really struggle the other night against Texas. Losing coordinators in bowl games is about as tough as losing the head coach.
Yeah, the teams that have lost their coaches had to make coaching changes. Even Oregon, who I saw play against Boise State, elevated Mario Cristobal, did not play well at all because the continuity has been disrupted at that time.
And the culture has been disrupted. You don't know what's going to happen now with the new coach as he want to set his new rules in place. You only have 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever it is, to get ready for these games. So when you have a new offensive coordinator that's plugging in, it's a fine line between saying, well, this is what worked, but this is how I want to do things.
Well, and now you've got the early signing date, which makes it even more difficult because these guys are all out recruiting. If a coach changes, you've got less staff. You've got some new staff that aren't even coaching in the bowl game, so it's tough.
Yeah.
And if I was Coach Cristobal and the team stood up for me and wanted to play for me and you got to stay, then why not show up for the game?
Well, you know what happened? It was that Royce Freeman, that's what happened. He let him hype up the team, quote unquote, yet he's not playing. That was a downfall. I don't know why he let him do that. First mistake.
Denzel Ward hanging around, deciding not to play for Ohio State. We've seen a lot of that this year. I don't know what to do about it, but it's odd that we build to this great finish in the season, and then all of a sudden it's the least stable time of the season, whether it's your coaching staff moving, your guys deciding whether they're going to go pro or not. So,
and I do think early signing dates made it worse.
I think it has. Joel Lanning scores here. Let's listen to the Isley brothers as they perform Shout.
Years, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl has become one of college football's most celebrated and revered events. The bowl serves as a symbol of patriotism and freedom for millions of Americans. Many memorable moments have established the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as an American treasure. The bowl's rich history includes outstanding players such as Heisman Trophy winners Ernie Davis, Terry Baker, Doug Flutie, and Bo Jackson. Great quarterbacks Archie Manning and Dak Prescott have also played in the game. Bear Bryant, Lou Holtz, Tom Osborne, and Steve Spurrier are among the legends who have coached in the bowl. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl also has a tradition of honoring outstanding Americans with its Distinguished Citizen Award. This year's recipient is native Memphian, former St. Louis Cardinals World Series hero, and Hall of Fame broadcaster Tim McCarver.
I had all these great players around me. I mean, how can you mess that up? I worked with Al Michaels. I worked with Keith Jackson. I worked with Jack Buck. I'll never forget that.
Memphis has changed the world through its music, food, and culture. We're a city of doers, dreamers, and believers. That's what drives this unstoppable community. As we look ahead to the new year, Memphis has experienced tremendous growth with $11 billion in new investments in our city. Simply put, Memphis has momentum. I encourage you to visit our city and feel the incredible soul and vibe that you can only experience in Memphis.
Today's game showcases the successful partnership of three significant Memphis-based brands: the Autozone Liberty Bowl, now in its 59th year, Autozone, America's #1 auto parts retailer, and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, who is leading the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. Entertainer Danny Thomas founded St. Jude based on the dream that no child should die in the dawn of life. St. Jude's current expansion will allow them to continue Danny's mission for many years to come.
We're proud to sponsor the AutoZone Liberty Bowl and support the Bowl's charitable partner, St. Jude. At AutoZone, we strive to provide wow customer service as we say, yes, we've got it, to millions of customers each week. These are the same great customers who help us raise millions of dollars each year for St. Jude through the Thanks and Giving campaign. Through their generosity, AutoZone has donated nearly $30 million to St. Jude over the past 15 years.
On behalf of the children of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, I want to thank our wonderful friends at AutoZone and their caring customers who make the life-saving work at St. Jude possible.
Thanks for helping St. Jude patients like my friend Chandler.
Thanks, AutoZone. And thank you, AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Welcome back to Capital One Bowl Mania.
I got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got realness. I just nothing's in my DNA.
Welcome back to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. We are in Memphis, Tennessee, and a surprising 14-10 halftime score from two teams who can really light it up on offense. But you did mention, to your credit, you did mention defense when we started.
Iowa State's made a living off their defense this year. John Haycock has done a great job. He continued that today. Memphis they don't have the rhythm. We saw the Isley brothers at halftime playing twist and shout. They got to get into that rhythm. They've got to get tempo. If they don't, they're not going to score many points.
Pollard is deep as Memphis will get the football to start the third quarter. He has been held in check on 2 kick returns. 4 touchdown runs on kickoffs this year. 6 for his career. High and short. Pollard on the bounce. Up to the 35. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And Riley Ferguson, who has thrown for almost 4,000 yards, has been limited to 170 yards in the first half by this Iowa State defense. They'll take that, and Lazard has just eaten them up. 7 catches, 108 yards. And Joel Lanning, the specialty player on offense, defense, and special teams, comes in as the Wildcat quarterback and gets a touchdown. Let's see if they change anything the way they run this offense. No, they'll start running the ball just the way they did the first half with Patrick Taylor. Let's go to Clark.
Well, Mike, say hi to my friend Tom. That is Memphis mascot Tom the Third. Well, his head coach, Mike Norvell, and I just caught up, and he feels like he needs to establish the run more than anything to open up opportunities for Riley Ferguson, and struggling defensively with the height of the Iowa State wide receivers.
Miller, who has been quiet. Thank you, Kark. Takes it down to the 45-yard line.
What that tells me there is Mike Norvell, the coach from Memphis, has been talked out of his offense by John Haycock, the defensive coordinator of Iowa State, of playing the 8-man drop. So we'll see if it works. If they continue to run the ball, it might be a long day.
Tell you what, if you walk by a live tiger and that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. Taylor again, shaking tackles and fighting for extra yards. Nice, tough run by the 223-pound sophomore.
Well, he's got a lot of power, a lot of drive with his legs. And again, one arm tackle is not going to bring him down. They're missing Darrell Henderson on the quick plays, the runs. But I think this kid can get it done. They just got to be able to run and pass and mix it up.
Ferguson on the run finds a wide open Phil Mayhew, and Mayhew making people miss. Touchdown! Memphis takes the lead.
We talked about that before the game. These guys sometimes start slow, and then the second half they just open it up and blow people out. Well, they're off to a good start here. Good easy throw, making a play, but again, making people miss in the secondary. Watch, outside the pocket, easy throw. Phil Mayhew makes the catch.
Untouched.
Against the grain and just untouched.
You mentioned before they were explosive in the second half, at least could be, and they were explosive on that drive. And they come out and take the lead against Iowa State.
ESPN coverage is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
There's Tom. Nice kitty.
He's getting his gloves and earmuffs on because it's getting ready to get cold.
Landon Akers is deep to receive. Backs all the way up to the 2. Thought he was in the end zone and hesitated.
Never seen that.
No. When he backed up, I think he lost track of where he was. Let's take a look at the Bowl Challenge Cup, brought to you by Progressive, and the Big Ten leading the way, undefeated through 5 games. In the Southeastern Conference, 0-3.
Big 12, 4-2.
And the American has always done well in these matchups.
And Pac-12 is really struggling. Let's see what kind of adjustments we've got from Iowa State.
Kyle Kemp had a big first quarter, 147 yards, and then was held down 48 in the second. Montgomery trying to get to the outside, and does. Let's go to Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Mike, I mentioned earlier I caught up with Mike Norvell. He's concerned about the height on the outside for Iowa State. His corners, Tito Window, 5'9". Terrell Carter, 5'11", going against Alan Lazard, 6'5", and Akeem Butler, 6'6". There's a lot of jump ball opportunities for this Iowa State offense in the second half.
And that throw went to the outside to Deshaunte Jones and closed on quickly by Wyndham. Turned out to be a dangerous throw at the end of it. It was Kemp maybe a little late on the toss.
Now not the time to worry about the height of the receivers. They've had 4 weeks to worry about that. You need to figure out a way to cover them with either 1 or 2 or maybe 3 guys. But number 5 will be the target here.
And you really didn't expect him to grow much between the end of the regular season and the bowl game.
Now, Thanksgiving and Christmas, you might grow some ways, but not up.
That was fluttering down to Hakeem Butler, throwing it into the wind. Lost its spiral and never even got close.
That's a good series for Memphis's defense. Good pressure. Got a big play on first down, but you know, when you get to 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, you've got to make sure that you get that 1 first down to keep your offense on the field. But you can see the win there. But that wasn't a good series for Iowa State or Kyle Kemp.
Tom Manning, the offensive coordinator, talking to Kyle Kempt. Williams is deep. Should have good field position, but a good bounce for Iowa State will take it down around the 40. Monday, New Year's Day, catch the college football playoff semifinals on ESPN. Number 3, Georgia. Number 2, Oklahoma will kick things off in the Rose Bowl game, presented by Northwestern Mutual at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Then it's number 4, Alabama. Number 1, Clemson in a rematch, this time in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Both games also streaming live on ESPN.
And if you're a college football fan, this is the matchup that you want to see. Can a Baker Mayfield against a great Georgia defense really get the job done? Run the ball for Georgia, force Mayfield out of the pocket, cover people in half the field. Oklahoma play tempo offense. They've got to do a lot of things, I think, against Georgia's defense to make a dent in the scoreboard.
Memphis determined to run with Patrick Taylor.
I think this is going to be a very crucial series, not just for Memphis's offense to get some consistency, but for Iowa State to come up with a key to stop, the bleeding after that first 4-play drive and giving up 7 points.
Ferguson out of Matthews, North Carolina. Pressure coming here. He steps up and throws sideline complete to Miller. Miller, who owns every single receiving record in Memphis football history, a consensus All-American this year.
Zone blitz, bringing 4 guys off the corner. They just give up the outside deep zone. Had somebody behind him, but good job of Riley figuring out that combination, getting the ball deep down the field.
All the way to the Iowa State 30, handoff, and kaboom. Willie Harvey wasn't having any of it. He was in the backfield in a heartbeat.
Good call by John Haycock right here, just bringing an extra guy. And more for the passing game, but he just, look what I found. I found a running back with the ball. And again, good call, slanting into the boundary, which is normally not what you do.
Spotted back at the 33, so it's 2nd and 13. Ferguson over the middle, threw it up for grabs. That one was nearly picked by Brian Peavy, who is going to be a little slow getting up. Peavy went down earlier in the ball game and slow to get up, and they're already missing Cotton, Moya, and Edwards in the backfield.
A la zone defense. That's what they lived off all year long.
And that was incoming.
Yeah.
Reggie Wilkerson, his own man, hit him.
Yeah.
So this would be their 3rd starter off the field.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl on ABC is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Overton's, America's marine and water sports superstore. Nissan, innovation that excites. And Franklin American Mortgage. It all begins with home.
These folks have more spirit than I do. I mean, a pep rally when it's 20 degrees.
You got to do something. Stay warm.
Stay inside.
Yeah, stay inside.
You can get away with a lot of contraband with that hat, can't you?
Foot-long corn dog underneath with mustard.
Several. 10:59 on the clock here in the 3rd quarter. Memphis by 3 with the ball. Ferguson flushed. Taken down at the 39-yard line. Joel Lanning got him.
They don't bring him very often, but when they do, he is usually effective. There they are right there. They're headed to that hat. They're going to take 1 home with them and eat 2 here.
How much is a 1.5 foot long corn dog?
Oh, I don't know what that'd be. You got to float.
No, you got them all free, didn't you?
You had to float alone. Dipped in mustard. Yellow mustard.
Yellow.
Yeah, yellow mustard.
4th and 19. They'll have to kick it away, and both quarterbacks have taken sacks today when they shouldn't, costing their teams an opportunity at better field goals. Allstate is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds.
Now, that was an interesting hang punt there. Almost got it blocked. I mean,
almost.
I don't think the punter saw him coming. That could have been a disaster. Great pressure from the outside.
So Iowa State starts in a hole at its own 15. A lot of people thought this game was going to be 45-44. Last team with the ball wins. Hasn't turned out that way.
Both defensive fronts, Mike, have played very well. Pressuring the passer, stopping the run. Offensive coordinator's been a little bit hard-headed of getting away from the run. Won't try to establish that. It's not there today. The one that probably throws the most passes is going to win this game.
2nd and 9. Montgomery has not been much of a factor in the run game. Normally he is over 90 yards a game, second in the Big 12. They fake it to him here and complete the pass to Hakeem Butler out to the 28-29 yard line for a first down.
Play action pass, get the ball to the big guys on the outside. 6'6", 220 pounds, Hakeem Butler, and he can flat run over you after he catches the ball.
And there Butler gets it on the screen, cuts it outside. Look at those long strides up to the 47 yard line. That'll be another first down.
DB's worst nightmare is to see a guy like that come in an open field. He can catch the ball, he can make moves, got good vision, and he loves to run over defensive backs that are 100 pounds smaller than him.
I mean, he's 6'6", 219.
That's huge. He's a great target.
And then you got Lazard out there at 6'5", 220. Montgomery on a little cross-buck action. And let's go to Clark.
Well, you saw the two huge catches by Hakeem Butler and an amazing story. A Baltimore, Maryland native. His mother passed from cancer in 2012, so he moved to his mother's cousin's house in Texas. Aaron Harrison and his two boys, you probably remember the names, Aaron Harrison Jr. and Andrew Harrison, were stars on that Kentucky basketball team for Coach Calipari a few years back, and the family embraced him, played some high school football in Texas, and he is a star in the making, gentlemen.
Boy, isn't he ever. Kempt rifles that one complete inside the 40 to Marchie Murdoch, who's been pretty quiet. We've seen him a couple of times during the regular season when he was a big factor in the passing game. Another guy's big, 6'1", 205. And that throw goes off the fingertips of Lazard. And Kempt was trying to throw that ball away from trouble because Tito Wyndham was closing in a hurry.
Had him in man coverage, that'd have been a good time to throw a fade route because the outside the corners look a little bit tired. They've had to play a lot of man, and really when they're playing zone there in man, when they're in 3 deep, they've still got to cover the guy deep, and they've done a lot of running in this game so far.
Flushed, pulls up in front of the sticks and throws. Good decision on his part. Got it complete to Deshaunte Jones.
That's a great play from Kyle Kempt, getting out of the pocket. And watch, he knows where the line of scrimmage is at. He almost crosses it, backs up, and throws the out route to Deshaunte Jones, who's going to be a star here on this football team. He's just a sophomore, one of the young receivers on the team.
And Kempt is going to make very few mental errors. He is such a smart guy.
Looks like it's going to be an RPO right here. Looking to the outside 3 receivers. Got a mismatch.
They're at the bottom of the screen. Kempt looks the other way and throws a perfect strike in the middle of the field. First down to Lazard.
They got 3-on-1 to the field. They saw 1-on-1 coverage into the boundary. And Lazard just runs a quick slant, and there's no way these corners at Memphis can cover this guy. Watch, he just plants 1-on-1 into the boundary. Quick slant. Huge mismatch. That won't be the last time.
No. 8 carries, 127 yards. Has to limp off. Had 5 catches in the first quarter alone. First down spotted at the 12. Montgomery. Little hesitation move, gets to the 10.
Let's go back a play and look at this 3-on-1 to the field, but that leaves him 1-on-1 with a cornerback. They changed the play. They were going to the field and they went 1-on-1 to Lazard. That's just a mismatch right there. Good throw by Kyle Kemp on the quick slant.
And it looks like he wants to get that ankle retaped. Second and 8, just inside the 10-yard line. Kemp has it picked. Intercepted by Curtis Akins, the linebacker. There is a flag down.
Could have a couple of fouls on this play. He just threw into coverage. He knows right now he should have never thrown that ball. They went from man and dropped into zone.
As soon as we say he's not going to make any mental mistakes, he makes one.
They dropped 8, all right on the line of the goal line, and that's how you teach them. You know, you play that zone, play it tight on the goal line, and force him into that bad throw.
During the return, there are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal block in the back receiving team. That penalty is declined. Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense. Number 6. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
Oh, how about that? How about that?
That is a tough one.
Called on Jannard Avery. So instead of an interception, it is first and goal.
Yeah, watch the rush here. Just set in the pocket. Ball's away. I don't know about that one.
Not much, is it?
Not much there yet. You know, there's got to be a lot involved in roughing the passer, and he barely fell down. But good job right there by the defense anyway of getting the interception, knowing that they can get the ball back, but they got to make another big play here.
And here's the Swiss Army knife, Joel Lanning. As a quarterback, he's thrown for over 2,500 yards with 20 touchdowns, but he's much more effective as a runner.
I'd rather have David Montgomery playing Wildcat than him. I really would in a game like this. You know, he's bigger and he knows where to find it at. But
not a bad idea.
But David Montgomery doesn't give you the pass option. I guess that's why they use him back there.
Well, Montgomery was a quarterback in high school, but he was a running quarterback. Kemp is back in under pressure. Throws it to the back of the end zone. Tipped and caught. Touchdown. Lazard somehow came up with a ball. That was a bad throw that looked like it could have been picked. And as it turns out, it's a touchdown for the Cyclones.
Boy, he better take a knee on this one. Kemp, he just threw this one for grabs. And he had David Montgomery wide open on the goal line. And he was actually the intended receiver on a kind of a bootleg pass into the boundary.
What a break for Iowa State.
I don't know why he throws this ball. Should have been intercepted, tipped.
What concentration by Lazard.
He's a great player, and we can't see David Montgomery. He's wide open on the goal line, but they got the touchdown. That was a big drive for Iowa State.
Big drive, big play, huge break, and there's 3 Iowa State players who could have caught this. It was an 85-yard drive. That's a pretty good answer. Remember, there was an interception that was overruled by roughing the passer.
What they're probably looking at here is, did Lazard run out of bounds in the back of the end zone and then come back in?
Can't be the first to touch it, right?
Yeah, you can't be the first guy to touch the ball.
But he wasn't. It was tipped.
Well, that's a good point. You know your rules.
Well, he was actually the third to touch it, it appeared. Maybe you can't be the third guy to touch it if you're running out of bounds. Watch, 2 guys hit it here. At least one.
Yeah. I think they should look at this. Because this is a huge game changer here. This is a good job by the officiating crew. ACC crew that done a good job today. We've seen a couple of bowl games where some officiating crews have struggled a little bit because when you change conferences, when you change conferences and go to another league,
hard.
It's hard to do that. Different type of ball.
He's in.
Yeah. But I'm sure they're looking at what happened before that. But as you said, the ball was tipped.
At the review, ruling on the field, stands, touchdown.
A few people agree with us here.
Well, about half of them.
Yeah.
The other half don't like the call. But that puts Iowa State back on top. And it was hard to tell if he had stepped out of bounds first.
And came back.
But because the ball was tipped, it wouldn't have mattered.
That was an impressive drive, though. Iowa State needed that. They needed that drive.
And the extra point will put them up by 4. 21-17 at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Iowa State gets a break here on a pass that Kemp just threw up and hoped.
Welcome back to Memphis. Iowa State up 21-17 over the Memphis Tigers. And give the training staff from Iowa State the touchdown ball there. Star receiver Alan Lazard earlier in the drive hurt his ankle, came off. Rather than take off the shoe and do a complete new tape job, they taped over his shoe. Lazard ran frantically before that touchdown play to a coach to get him back on the field, and it's worth 6 for the Cyclones.
Pollard is deep. He's been held in check so far. There's a squib kick this time as they're kicking it into the wind, so Pollard doesn't get a crack at it.
As we look at the touchdown catch, look at the height. And we talked about that earlier about how much bigger these receivers are than the DBs are from Memphis. That's a huge advantage, especially in the end zone on jump balls like that. 6'5".
Well, in this day and age, when you've got a guy who's 6'2", you don't make him a defensive back, you make him a wide receiver.
That's what's happened with all these spread offenses. They play all these 7-on-7 leagues all across the country now.
Exactly.
And nobody wants to play DB. They want to play receiver. And so you have to really hunt to find bigger DBs.
Memphis, straight up the middle goes Patrick Taylor. They are determined that they're going to establish this running game, and that time Taylor found a big hole.
Big hole. That's the biggest hole all day, and Marcel Spears just gets kicked out of the hole. He's got to come underneath that block. Good run.
22 yards on that carry, and they go right back to it. Spears couldn't get there that time. Willie Harvey, the other linebacker, made the tackle.
Got the backup defensive line in from Iowa State, and they're trying to get the starters back in there, but it's almost too late.
Taylor again, and they have certainly found some running lanes with that group in there right now.
It's what this fast tempo offense does. If you start a group on the field and they see you've got backups in there, they might not let you get them back in the game. If they don't sub, they get back to the line of scrimmage. You don't have enough time to get reserves or your starters back into the game. Now the starters are back for Iowa State on the defensive line.
And Lanning was out as well. You saw number 7 come back on. It's 2nd and 7. Taylor again. This time less room to operate. He's down at the 15.
This is where Anthony Miller, number 3, shines for Memphis on the quick screens like a running back from the outside, or could get a fade route.
3rd and 5. Peavy goes out on him. They'll swing it out in the flat. And this will be shy of the first down as Taylor, they're going to mark it around the 13-yard line. Do you go for the field goal here, Coach?
You probably go for the field goal. But what happened here, Darrell Henderson's not in the game. You got your big running back. He can't make anybody miss, and that's where they're really missing Darrell Henderson today, is having to throw the ball to a 220-pound running back, except for a 200-pounder that can make a DB miss and possibly score a point.
Right. Patterson 1 for 2. This one will be from 30 yards. And he cuts the lead to 1. 21-20, Iowa State, late third quarter.
Our college football studios. Tax-Slayer Bowl, no Mullen, no Fitzgerald, no problem. Keaton Thompson, keeper, we're in. We're tied at 24 on ESPN in Jacksonville. Mike, back to you.
Thanks so much. We've got a 1-point game here at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in Memphis. Iowa State's going to get the ball back. 2:16 to go third quarter. The significance of that is they will be going into the wind for that 2:16. So a first down would get the wind at their back in the fourth quarter. Landon Akers does a seam up the middle, runs into his own man, gets out to the 30-yard line. Alan Lazard, as he almost always does, a big game. Great body control.
Huge mismatch against these smaller DBs. He's just a man amongst boys today. And again, the height, the jumping ability, and the physical ability of blocking on these screens is just it's a huge weapon. And now Iowa State's got the ball. 2 minutes to go into the wind. They will have the wind in the fourth quarter, which is going to be a big advantage for the Hawkeyes. Cyclones. Excuse me.
Wouldn't you think, playing the wind with 2:10 on the clock, you'd run the ball to try to take some time off of it?
Yeah, you might do that. Just depends on what you get on first down here.
And it is Montgomery trying to get out to the outside, and Memphis has done a terrific job against the Iowa State rushing attack. Sharif White, the backup middle linebacker, has seen a lot of time in this ballgame.
We could probably go back and look at the yardage that they've gained. Nothing between the tackles. If they've gotten anything, it's been on the outside.
Right. Kemp's going to hand it off again, and again Montgomery nowhere to go, but he cuts it back, looking for a block. Another block in Montgomery to the 45-46-yard line. What an individual effort to pick up 16 yards. And this will take him to the fourth quarter if they run it again.
Big-time players make big-time plays. Nothing there. Reverse field. See that many times. Cutting back against the grain on a defense that's got a lot of speed. And that's what Memphis has on. They don't have a lot of size. They have a lot of quickness and speed.
Montgomery again picking his way. Of course, Montgomery has made people miss for his entire career. 104 is what were charted this year from Pro Football Focus. That was #1 in the country, and they named him their #1 running back because of that.
Who would have ever thought about doing a stat like that, making people miss? But that is unbelievable. And again, he just made about 2 or 3 more on that list, breaking back on that cutback.
Yes, he did. And some other pretty good backs on that list too, weren't there?
Yeah, there's usually it's the quicker backs. David Montgomery's more of a physical guy, but he can also make you miss.
Well, Fournette made people miss by running over them. Quick out and caught. That will be another first down. Guess who? Lazard really playing on one leg right now. He's a little gimpy. He's going to come off again.
He threw this one on a clothesline. This is a great, not just a good throw, a great throw. Only person that can catch it is Lazard. Kemp is on money.
And T.J. Carter was right there. He broke on that ball as well as anybody's going to as a defensive back. We go to the fourth quarter. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We go to the fourth quarter here in Memphis, Tennessee. B.B. King.
Legend.
Wonderful. 21-20 Iowa State in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and we have a new record in this game. Alan Lazard with 10 catches, 142 yards. That ties the record. You want to bet me $1 he's not going to break it in the fourth quarter?
He's going to top that by several by this game. They got the wind at their back, the huge advantage, and Memphis has really got to step up on defense, especially covering Lazard.
And I would think he's the only guy doing it on one leg. As you can see him gimpy. That's Murdoch in motion. Memphis showing blitz, and they come with it. Montgomery maybe back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. That's a good move. They bring everybody up late so you can't change the play.
Looked like that was an automatic call blitz. Sometimes you have to formations, different defenses that you just on the field check to, and it looked like that was one of them. Different formation that they'd seen, but Memphis had worked on that as a running play and a running blitz.
Montgomery really has only had the one big rush where he reversed field. Montgomery again, and both coaches are just bound and determined that they are going to run the football no matter what.
Then they've got some great mismatches up on the outside. They've made some plays, but I tell you, I really like Tom Manning's game plan from Iowa State, though. They've kind of teased Memphis a little bit on the outside of throwing the ball, but trying to consistently run it. I think they're a little bit overwhelmed, too, about how good defense Memphis is playing against the run. But Tom Manning's had a very good game plan so far.
3rd and 8. The big edge right now is the wind, and they're going with it. A lot of pressure coming on Kempton. He is buried. Quarterbacks have steadfastly refused to throw the ball away today when they should.
That was a good job that time of Austin Hall, number 25, not showing the blitz. You can see the cross. They're actually bringing overload to the field. They don't have enough people to block him. Kemp's got to get rid of the ball. Just throw it in the ground. Get rid of the ball. Don't take that sack.
He's lucky he held on to that one, too. He was smacked. Maybe a chance for Williams to return one. They're taking it to 12. Nowhere to go. Excellent coverage. 38-yard kick, a 1-yard return, and with 12:44 to go in the game, Memphis has it back down by 1. We welcome you back to Memphis, and let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. That always freaks me out when I see a whale breaching under a bridge. 21-20 Iowa State in the fourth quarter. Lazard has tied a AutoZone Liberty Bowl record with his 10 catches today. Seen a lot of defense, and Ferguson has been limited 254 yards. Loose ball knocked out of bounds as they try the fly sweep.
Anthony Miller's down on the sideline.
Officials timeout for injury.
He dribbled that thing across the formation.
Just a quick speed sweep. They've got to get the ball in his hands more and more. He's not touched it enough today. 4 for 55 yards in reception, but that's just a bad timing, bad handoff. Not a good start to this drive, and hopefully there's not much wrong with Anthony.
And Brian Peavy just unloaded on him at the end of the play, got a free shot and took it. Miller back up.
That's good. Good to see him moving around. Anthony Miller's playing in the Senior Bowl, made All-American. He's going to have a good career in front of him.
Yes,
good to see him get up off the ground.
He wasn't recruited out of high school because he ran between a 4.6 and a 4.7 40, but his quickness makes up for any lack of pure straight line speed. Montgomery under pressure, or Ferguson under pressure, excuse me, throws sideline, and that's incomplete. Peavy with good coverage out there on Mayhew. Remember, Peavy was the guy who made that huge exception of Kenny Hill against TCU.
John Haycock, the coordinator. Iowa State dialed up a 4-man rush at that time and got the inside guys free. Ray Lima, who really played well for him this year. Tremendous pressure from the inside.
Third down. There's the screen that we've been looking for the entire game, and Iowa State defense did perfectly. If you're getting ready for a bowl game, coach, and you look at tape and you see another team is great at something, you work on that, don't you?
Oh, you really do. And again, you know who they're going to throw the ball to. It hadn't been a secret all year. They've tried to get the ball to Anthony Miller on that real quick fly screen in the backfield. And again, Iowa State, they don't play a lot of man coverage, so that really doesn't bother them that much. They've got guys waiting on them to come across the field.
So they'll have to kick it away into the wind. And good field position for Iowa State. Lazard makes the fair catch at the 45. The punt into the wind, only 31 yards. Later today, Capital One Bowl Mania rolls on. 2 more games on ESPN. At 4 Eastern, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, as number 11 Washington will go against number 9 Penn State and Saquon Barkley. Then at 8, number 10 Miami will be at home to take on number 6 Wisconsin in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Both games also available on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. These guys are really good. Gaskin and Barkley. I thought Barkley, outside of quarterbacks, was the best player in the country this year.
Then he got hurt about midway this season. That usually happens to running backs. It's a really tough sport.
They just take a beating. That's an unusual play. A keeper for Kyle Kempt.
It looked like a very good handoff.
Assuming they just didn't miss the handoff altogether.
Yeah, this is a huge drive for both teams. Memphis has got to play deep. They got to keep them to at least 3 points here. But they got the wind at their back for Iowa State. 20 more yards, they've got a chance for a field goal.
And this has become a game of field position, with that wind being the factor. Blitz coming, and Kempt is drilled. Big play. Jannard Avery, the all-conference performer, comes off the corner, gets his 2nd sack, which gives him 8.5 for the season.
Chris Ball bringing the heat from the outside. Jannard Avery unblocked. The back has got to get over there to block him. They had the protection there. He just doesn't seem quick enough. Chris Ball's done an excellent job today with this defense against this high-powered offense of Iowa State.
Big loss makes it 3rd and 13.
On the snap, delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
An unusual mental mistake against Iowa State.
Yeah, that's got to come from the sideline too. You start your drive around the plus 45 going in, and now you're back to the other 45-yard line, 46. Just not very good execution of getting the ball down the field. Again, I think they've got to take the ball more outside. Quit worrying about the running game. Try to win this game with your big receivers on the outside.
See if they go with something safe like a screen or a draw on 3rd and 18. Pressure coming. Kempt throws to the outside. And what a tackle to save a 1st down. Marchie Murdoch made the catch. Looked like he was going to get the 1st, and Jonathan Cook blew him up.
But 3rd and about 17. They get a good, easy 10 yards down the field. And watch Jonathan Cook come up and make the play. Great tackle right there. About a yard short.
Tremendous form tackle, and Lanning comes in at quarterback. Play of the game here.
You're probably going to see a pass here because they're going to put everybody on the line of scrimmage to try to stop them. They know that their back is against the wall. They've got to win.
They're not going to get the play in, Coach. Going to have to call a timeout here because there was indecision on the sideline, it appeared.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl on ABC is brought to you by AutoZone. For the parts, accessories, and helpful advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. The 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And AT&T.
Back in Memphis, Tennessee. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, a 1-point game, fourth quarter.
Memphis is selling out. They've got an 11-man front to try to stop this 4th and 1. They know this is a do-or-die situation here.
Look out to the left. 2 wide receivers stacked out there. Would you dare throw it?
Now with Lanning, I'd throw it. It's going to be hard to get this 1 yard.
He's going to run. Uses his power to get the first down. He's a big kid. He's 230.
And healthy.
Yes, finally.
Wasn't healthy at the end of the year, but that really helped him there. He had a lot of leg drive. Great push on the left side from the offensive line. Sam Steenbucker was the lead blocker there. Made a heck of a block, not just pancaked the linebacker.
That run very reminiscent of his touchdown run earlier in the ball game. And a new set of downs. And look at the clock winding. We're down under 8.5 minutes. And they are just bleeding that thing right now. Montgomery shakes a tackle, driving forward. Oh, he's not about to give up. This kid is just tough. Down to the 24-yard line.
He's a difference maker on short yardage, and when you want and need to run the ball, arm tackles are not going to bring him down. He broke 5-6 tackles on that 1 carry.
They're just running through linebackers.
Iowa State's trying to shorten the game now. They're not going to go fast. They're going to run the clock. 1-point lead. Try to get a touchdown and put them up by 8.
They have almost doubled Memphis right now in time of possession. Montgomery again. Nice cut. First down. And let's go to Paul.
Gentlemen, field level, David Montgomery, 32 and white, is an absolute beast. And when you bring in a new coaching staff, you got to change the culture. Matt Campbell calls David Montgomery a culture changer. This is a kid who's well-rounded, was an Eagle Scout for his Eagle Scout project, collected toiletries for the homeless. He's such a well-rounded student athlete, Montgomery.
Boy, he is a tough runner, too. What a smart kid. If you're an Eagle Scout, you are very, very bright, not to mention dedicated.
And he's a tough kid, too. He is really tough.
Kemp trying to fool everybody and just tripped up by T.J. Carter.
They couldn't have had a better guy.
That had a chance to get a big play there, didn't it?
They ran it, unfortunately, to the side of T.J. Carter. He's probably the best tackler on Memphis's team. Just watch this ankle tackle. This could have been a touchdown right here. Smaller guy versus a big, and T.J. Carter was smart. He dropped his head, got underneath the stiff arm to get to the ankles.
There's the time of possession right now. Clock inexorably ticking down. 2nd and 9 from the 18-yard line. Kent gets it out to Butler. Trying for the first down marker. He got it and more. Butler dives for the goal line. No signal now. They'll mark him out at the 2.
Well, that's what you call cover none on Butler. They had nobody on him. I don't know what the safety was doing. He was way deep in the end zone.
He was 15 yards off.
He was 15 yards off. Broke 2 tackles. Looked like he did step out about the 2-yard line. They might take a look at this. That was pretty close.
First and goal. Montgomery. You know, I was thinking the best thing that could happen to him is run 4 plays and get a touchdown, burn as much of that clock as possible and still score.
Yeah, I was going to say probably the best thing for Memphis is to let them score.
Let them score.
Get the ball back. You're only going to be down by 8 points, so you're 1 score down with a 2-point conversion.
Right. Now, I've seen that before. I've seen a defense just literally open up and let them in.
Coached a lot of years, and there was times I thought about it. You know, that is hard to do. Hard to do. Well, you actually work
especially when you're a defensive coach.
Yeah, you work on it in practice. You have a hand signal to the players of, hey, let them score. And I never had enough guts to call it. I really didn't. But it's sometimes a good coaching move, and this could be here. It's good.
Tonight after the Capital One Orange Bowl on ESPN, catch SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. He'll break down Steph Curry's performance and his expected return to the Warriors tonight. Plus an update on Baker Mayfield's health, which has been a major concern as Oklahoma prepares for the Rose Bowl. All that and more on SportsCenter at midnight Eastern on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app.
Do we have any clue about is it an illness or injury?
I believe it's an illness.
Okay.
As a cold or the flu, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's got to scare you to death as a coach because your players are so close all the time, it goes right through your entire team.
Yeah. You take flu shots at the beginning of the season. You do everything you possibly can. I mean, you use so many different things in the laundry. I mean, just try to keep everybody healthy.
And then your Heisman winner gets sick. 5:04 on the clock. IowaState really good at milking the clock. Montgomery. I don't think he got in. They'll mark him about 2 lengths of the football short.
This will be a huge goal line. Look at the penetration from the left side. Good contact right there. Yeah, he's about a foot short. He's protecting the football. That's one thing I like about Montgomery. He could have taken that ball and tried to stick it over the goal line, but I've seen so many bad things happen when they do that. He's a smart running back. Understand any points are better than none.
Memphis has all of its timeouts.
They got to go wide sooner or later.
Montgomery again, dives, touchdown. The ball came out, but I believe he had crossed the plane. Let's check. What a call this would be.
Controversy. You got to have controversy in a bowl game.
Yes, you do.
You always have to have that.
The Tigers are saying they got it.
That the ball carrier fumbled the ball prior to crossing the goal line.
Holy cow.
Recovered in the end zone. Touchdown.
We will obviously take a look at this one.
And we just talked about protect the football. He did such a great job to play before that.
In honor of Dick Enberg, oh my.
Here we get a good look. Not a great handoff to start with. He's got the ball outside of his hands. I think he might be over. We'll see.
If it is a fumble, it would be their first lost fumble. The first lost fumble of the year. No team has ever gone an entire season without losing a fumble. I thought at first glance he was across.
This is not going to be a fumble. This is going to be a touchdown.
I think it has to.
Yeah. The only problem is he didn't get a real clean handoff. You see the ball was on his left shoulder. Did he get it back in time? And was he bobbling as he's bringing it back to his stomach to protect the ball? We got a camera on both goal lines on both sides, and we really don't have a great look. Here's the problem. You can see right there. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help.
You can match him up, though. You can match up these replays and where you see his body position is. He's across.
We were talking to the instant replay guys before the game. It's got to be 100% that he had the ball going across the goal line. I think he does.
I do too.
But remember, they called it a fumble on the field. It has to be 100% coming from the instant replay booth.
What a huge play this is. A fumble literally at the goal line.
And it would be the first lost fumble
all year
of the year.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchback.
Oh, my goodness.
They're going to say there wasn't enough
evidence
to overturn it, and that's probably a legitimate point of view.
That's one thing that's a drawback on instant replay.
Only 3 teams now in history, make it 4, have finished the season with 1 lost fumble, and what a lost fumble it was.
And we had cameras
on 7.5-minute drive.
And we had cameras on all 4 angles,
and you still
couldn't get it. Great job by our camera crew.
Now plenty of time for Memphis, and all they would need would be a field goal. And they're going to come out and run just the way they have the entire game. They are not about to abandon that. Patrick Taylor gets a couple. Marcel Spears makes the stop.
Got to get the ball to Anthony Miller, number 3, some way.
He was shaken up earlier, remember. Pressure coming, and they got him. Riley Ferguson sacked for the 6th time in this game. Spears and Harvey, the outside linebackers, led the charge. What a huge play that is.
My MVP of this game is going to be John Haycock if they pull this thing off. Because I'm telling you, he has done a great job of putting pressure on this Memphis offense.
Boy, here's a huge play, 3rd and 15. Pressure coming, back shoulder throw incomplete, the flag. That's going to be on Brian Peavy. And Lawrence White appears to be upset with Peavy. It was intended for Miller. I thought Miller fell down.
For 10, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, let's take a look at it. Here he's trying to shake off man coverage. Peavy's head on him. Well, he's got his hands on him. Good job of acting right there, acting like you pulled him down.
Oh, man.
The official behind the hold called that. He could not see that part of it.
So Miller comes off the field. Holy cow.
What a lot of action on this last 5 minutes.
Timeout. Memphis, their first timeout of the half.
So they have to burn a timeout. Hey, don't go away.
Zubin Mehenti in our college football studios. Great Tax Slayer Bowl. Going down to the final seconds on ESPN. Lamar Jackson picked by Mark McLaurin. Keaton Thompson's given him 3 rushing touchdowns, 12 ticks to go. Great finish there, and with you guys.
Zubin, thank you very much, and we invite everyone to tune into ESPN3 for the postgame trophy ceremony here, presented by Capital One, immediately following this game. 3:04 left. Memphis down by 1. The fake to Taylor, the throw over the middle, out to the 46-yard line to Sean Dykes, who makes his first catch of the entire ball game.
He has been absent the entire game. A small tight end that they use on a lot on play action.
Good fake, opened it up. Here comes pressure. Ferguson trying to stay alive and then got rid of it.
Did a great job of just getting away from a 10-yard loss.
Boy, didn't he
Iowa State was coming after him. What a great pass rush. It's just unfortunate. This kid is very athletic when he gets to the outside. Going to his left, almost impossible to throw this ball for a completion. but just getting it back to the line of scrimmage and making it 2nd and 10 was a miracle.
Heck of a job. There's Riley Patterson.
Now remember, the wind is in the face of Memphis. Field goal is going to be awfully close.
Pressure coming. Doesn't get there. It's overthrown. Intended for Miller. 2 steps too far. And Ferguson knew he was going to get drilled.
Brian Peavy, number 10 on the coverage. Cornerback. They've gone after him pretty much all day long. He's held his own to some degree. We've been hearing some rumblings that he might come out and go in the draft. You know, he's getting tested today. This will be a good film for the pro scouts to look at if he's thinking about doing that.
3rd and 10. Too high and incomplete. This time Peavy was all over his man. He was covering Mayhew.
You pretty much have to go for this. You're not going to get the ball back. But it's long yardage and you're punting the ball into the wind.
Sure is. Well, you've got 2 timeouts left and 2:32. At least theoretically you can punt it away and get it back.
You're going to get zone defense. It's going to be hard to get a 10-yard throw into a window. Riley Ferguson's going to have to pull off a miracle here because you know exactly what's going to happen. John Haycock has been on the roll, done a good job. Let's see if they pressure. No, they're playing zone.
Back shoulder throw, and that one is caught for a first down. DeMonte Coatsy.
Oh, my goodness. What a throw and what a catch. Then again, they've gone to the same side every time. Brian Peavy is getting a workout. Don't let him outside release. You've got help on the inside. He had inside help. He lets him get outside, get to the boundary. Good back shoulder throw.
Playing that trail technique that when the receiver's hands goes up, his hand goes in between them. Couldn't knock the ball away that time. And that one badly overthrown, intended for Pollard. All-State Nets is proud to be a part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, All-State has contributed millions in scholarship funds.
Memphis has been great, absolutely great this year on screen passes, and we have seen maybe 1 or 2 all day long. This would be a great time to run one. 3rd down, 10, probably going to get a little bit of pressure, probably a 4-man rush. Now they're bringing 6.
They sure did. They got to him, but he got away, makes the throw. Incomplete, knocked away at the last second by Reggie Wilkerson, who saved the day because the blitz did not get there.
He rolled the dice. John Haycock said, listen, they don't think we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to bring 6. They had a good rush, good pressure, forced him outside. But this kid can throw on the run, put it right on the money. And Willie Harvey made a great, maybe a game-saving knockdown.
Kadarian Jones was there as the receiver. And Wilkerson got a piece to transfer from Georgia. 3rd and 10. Pressure coming again. They bring 5. And the pass was a little high and behind Patrick Taylor, so now it's 4th and 10. No thought of a field goal. You're kicking into a 12, 15-mile-an-hour wind.
I like John Haycock here. The coordinator brings a corner fire from the field, from the boundary, but he does it mainly because Riley Ferguson is looking right into him. He sees he's coming and he panics instead of standing and wait for his receiver to come open.
They show blitz and they come with it. Pass to the outside, incomplete. They forced Ferguson to throw before he wanted to, and Iowa State takes over on downs.
What a defensive series for the Iowa State defense, and it's just typical of how they played all year long. I know they've got some players on offense with Lazard and Kyle Kemp, but this group right here, they're bringing 6, and he brings the house, and they can't block them all. And Ferguson just panics, throws the ball a little bit too quick, and overthrows. We've done 3 games of Iowa State this year, and we have not seen an all-out blitz like they just ran with a game-winning 4th and 10 call against Memphis.
Well, we both like John Haycock. This is not his first barbecue.
No. I'm proud for him because people really don't realize what you go through in the Big 12 of covering all these national teams. And he was ready for this game. This wasn't his first rodeo going up against a great offense like Memphis.
And we've got Joel Lanning in at quarterback. And he's going to try to get as much yardage he can and force Memphis to use its timeouts. They just burned number 2. Welcome back to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. What a ball game this has been. 1:46 left. Iowa State is up by 1. Elvis is in the building. It's a 1-point margin with 2nd and 7. And Memphis with only 1 timeout left. Joel Lanning, the senior middle linebacker, the former quarterback, at quarterback. And Lanning goes up the middle, first down. And boy, was he holding on to that football. He knew where the sticks were and then put the other arm around it, said, I'm not losing this, baby.
Protected the ball, drove for the first down. How fitting for the Iron Man to make that first down to pretty much put this ball game away.
So Memphis has used its last timeout. There's 1:35 to go. And now for our Capital One player of the game. Who do you think? Yep, Alan Lazard. 10 catches, which tied an AutoZone Liberty Bowl record. And he dominates games. That's what he does.
And a great career. Not just this game, just a great career. Kid that stayed in there, fought hard, gone through a coaching change. And this offense really helped him. Matt Campbell and his staff have really done a good job of implementing the type of players that they had on the team when they got here and used them in the right way. And really proud for Matt Campbell and the entire coaching staff of the entire team and guys like Alan Lazard who really stepped up.
You know, it was interesting when we talked to Matt Campbell earlier in the week. He was talking about recruiting being easier now that they had this kind of success this year. And he said, but we still have to sign the right guys, not necessarily better players, but the guys who fit at Iowa State and are going to fit our system. And I think that's a great perspective for him to have.
That's exactly right. I've been in many of these bowl games, Mike, and what people don't really realize is this ball game's coming to an end, and you've got all these players on both these teams that have put hundreds and hundreds of hours over the last 4 or 5 years, and this is the last time a lot of them will ever put on a helmet.
Right.
And so it's a sad time. It will be win or lose for both teams. You go in the dressing room, and it's the last time that group will ever be together as a team. It's really emotional.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And you know, you hate it for Memphis to go out like this. They're seniors, but they can hold their head up. And then Iowa State obviously winning this game and going on and putting together a program for Matt Campbell.
Victory formation. This will be Iowa State's 8th win of the year. Their first appearance in the college football poll, which has to be a landmark for them. 5 conference wins, that ties the most in their history in any conference. And for the longest time, they were the only team in the country that had 2 wins against the top 5. Now 3 teams do for the entire season. And this is a great win for their program. And a tough loss for Memphis, a team that had only lost to Central Florida twice in their own conference. Now they suffer their 3rd defeat of the year.
And they've had some big wins. Oklahoma beating TCU, but nothing better. I don't care what anybody says, nothing better than winning your last game of the year in a bowl game to really have a great holiday season and to send the seniors off in the right way.
Remember, we'll be bringing you the championship ceremony as they're bringing out the stage for that. And this is, as you said, the last game for Lanning and Lazard. Tremendous memories for these kids. So many seniors on the Iowa State Ball Club who have given them so much. And Kark is with Joel Lanning. Kark.
Joel, you don't have to wipe those tears away, man. Those are tears of joy. Well-deserved tears. Joel, this Memphis offense, second-rated offense in the country, 47 points a game, and you guys hold them to 20. How did you do it?
Team defense. That's how we've been playing all year. Coach Haycock has drilled in us play harder, longer than they do, and that's all we do. You play one step at a time, one breath at a time. You know, just take it one play at a time, literally, and he just preaches it, and that's what we did. We bought in as a defense.
You hadn't played linebacker since 8th grade. It's a well-documented story. You're an All-American linebacker in 1 year, second in the Big 12 in tackles. How did you personally do this in 2017?
Teammates and coaches. I can't do it without my teammates and coaches. I mean, the whole linebacker group helping me out, taking me in from day one when I moved over. I mean, I can't give enough credit to Jack Spring, watching film with me after practice every night, trying to make me a better player. And my coaches, Coach Veit, I mean, unbelievable coach. Obviously, I mean, he earned his honors for a reason. So, I mean, I can't do it without those guys, all those guys.
When you hug your teammates and you hug your family and you hug your coaches, what goes through your mind at this moment?
I don't know, just finally did it for 5 years. You know, this is what we wanted, get a chance to play in the bowl game, and we won. You know, it's finally a relief off the shoulders.
Well-deserved, Joel.
Thank you very much.
Kark, that's a great job. Tremendous interview of a guy who has had such an impact on his ball club.
In college football. Impact on all of college football.
Yep. Great ball game. Don't forget to move over to ESPN3 for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl postgame ceremony. For Tommy Tuberville and Paul Carcaterra and our entire hardworking crew, this is Mike Patrick. So long from Memphis, and have a happy New Year.